5 minutes after 9 o'clock. It is time for Veterans News. Hank Whittier is in the studio.
I'm barely here.
Good morning, Hank.
Well, that's your opinion. You're welcome to it.
It is my opinion, yeah. Not yours, huh? You don't agree?
Well, I'm tired, guys. You know.
He had a long trip to Jacksonville.
I had to go to do things, play Santa, all that good stuff.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
I still get it. Yeah. Can't you tell by the glitter I still have? Listen, it's a great morning. A little cool, but it's going to be a nice day, and then a little cool tomorrow morning, then warm up again, get some more rain in. But we do have casualties, unfortunately, and I know Terry's already on the line, I guess, right?
Yes, sir.
That was Terry?
Yes,
hey,
sir.
Terry, good morning to you.
Good morning, Hank. How are you?
I'm doing well, buddy. How about you? Holiday went okay?
Yes, sir. Went fine. Santa was very gracious.
Very good. Listen, you got one?
I actually have two, unfortunately.
All right.
Yes, sir. We'll go ahead and get started with ours. We have two to report. The first one is police officer Jennifer Lynn Sabina, and Jennifer was with the WOCA Police Department out of Wisconsin, and her end of watch was December the 24th of 2012. She was 30 years old. She had been with the agency for 2 years, and she was shot and killed while on patrol. The person's still at large. They're looking for him, but she's also survived by her husband, and so like I said, she spent 2 years with them. The second is Corporal Jimmy Norman, and Corporal Norman was with the Bel Air Police Department out of Texas. His end of watch was once again also December the 24th, 2012. He was 53 years of age. He had spent 20 years with the agency, and he was shot and killed during a traffic stop. Corporal Newman was served, like I said, with the agency for 20 years. He survived by his wife and children, and that's all we have.
Yeah, well, that's too many. We didn't have any.
Yep.
Terry, be safe, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Fire department had a couple, but I think anyway, we emailed them, but I'm not sure. I think Brian's on vacation, but we'll see.
Yeah, there's two terrible stories.
Oh yeah, up in New York State.
Yeah.
Up Webster.
We got it right.
Yeah, we got. If they don't call in, we'll do it. Yeah, I mean that's just these two people. Bad enough, but now we get more. All right, you got a couple of veterans too, I believe, right?
Yep. Army casualty, Sergeant Enrique Mondragon, 23 of Colony, Texas, and he was assigned to the headquarters HHC, 173rd Special Troops Battalion out of the 173rd Airborne Brigade Combat Team from Bamberg, Germany. We also have a naval casualty. His commander, Job W. Price, 42 of Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and he was assigned to the Naval Special Warfare Unit at Virginia Beach. He's the SEAL team leader that committed suicide in Afghanistan. And we also have another soldier from World War II. You probably saw that on TV, Charles Durning. But probably not everybody was aware of his service that he did during World War II. He got drafted at 21, and he was assigned initially to the 398th Infantry Regiment, and he later served overseas with the 3rd Army Support Troops and the 386th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Battalion. And for his valor during that time and the wounds he received during the war, he was awarded a Silver Star, a Bronze Star, and 3 Purple Hearts, in addition to his other accommodations that he got from World War II. So we want to remember those.
Well, it's amazing. We see all these other characters playing these heroic people in the movies, and Charles Durning, he was the real deal. You know, he did all those. He did all that thing from Washington. What is that? Was it the 4th of July celebration he used to always host?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, the musical thing.
Right?
Yeah. So I mean, here's someone that you probably didn't connect with valor.
Right.
Didn't look the part, that's for sure. But wounded, had 3 Purple Hearts. Wounded the first time he was wounded severely, and then came back and got wounded again, and. A pretty interesting character, but a lot of part of that World War II group that's dying out on us.
Right.
I don't know if the fire department's going to call in. If they are, they're going to be late, so we'll go ahead and do it. And
Okay.
you got them
Well,
in
we've
front
got
of
a
you?
couple of firemen.
Yeah, unfortunately we do.
Unfortunately, and everybody's probably heard about it from the Webster, New York area. 2 firemen have been killed in the line of duty. They were trying to put out a fire, and somebody used them as target practice. He totally intent was to kill people. First one out is Mike J. Caprini, firefighter, 43 years of age, 27 years on duty. And the other one is Miriam Kowalski, firefighter, age of 19, and he was 1 year in the line of duty. And again, this was an unfortunate situation where somebody targeted the fire department.
Yeah, they set the house on fire. They went to the call, and he actually shot 4 of them. 2, I guess, are going to survive.
Yeah, 2 of them are doing real well. Also, he killed his sister.
Yeah, well, the good news is he killed himself as well.
Yeah.
So if there's any good news, no good news there. But all right, does that wrap up the casualties? Anybody local that we want to mention?
think so.
You got somebody? No?
Nope.
Okay. Larry, thank you, buddy.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear, the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, we have already gone. 'Twas grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead us
Yeah, thanks, Larry. Appreciate it. Sorry we had casualties this morning, but life goes on, unfortunately. All right, guys, you got. Why don't you do do your Mercury little. Yeah,
The Mercury
flat. The
thing.
news
Mercury
is that
thing.
Robert Wood is opening up a Mercury dealership right here in Ocala.
And it's going to special design Mercuries. And don't worry.
There's probably a market for it, Robert.
probably is.
You know, I told you Don Williams was looking for a Mercury Marquis
That's
the other
why
day.
I
Wanted to
said
know why
I'm
he
gonna
couldn't
open
find
it
a
up.
new one.
We got to open
So
it
Don,
up.
it's been a few years since they made those babies.
But it is Ocala, Ford, and Lincoln.
That's right.
Ocala.
And the Lincoln's being restyled and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's putting a
brand-
lot of money into that
brand new
Lincoln
look.
end of it.
And they've been around for 20 some odd years at
Oh, I
least.
think longer than that.
I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Steve
been here that
Pelosi's
long.
been around 20.
Yeah, well.
I think.
Some of them guys personally.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, you can go out there and get your vehicle repaired if you need to through Ford, and they offer real good sales at the store either here in Ocala or down in Bellevue.
Yeah.
And they're shortly going to be opening the new Bellevue store, I understand.
Yeah, I think in the spring it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
February or March, I don't
Yeah,
remember.
a little bit later than that, but pretty soon.
But
It's not that far away.
it's
I'm
not
sure
that
they'll
far away,
Going to have
so-
hot dogs and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
So
and
we're already planning on that. It's
Even
kind of a
got
night out.
balloon
you know?
for you, sir. No problem.
Yeah. But they sell good product, good Ford products. They're good. Go see
it is-
Tom or any of those guys over there. Tom was in last week. I guess they have a lot of end of the year specials, cleaning out
Sounds
those
like it, yeah.
2012s and all that stuff. So a lot of sales going on. Now's
Yeah,
the time
well,
to
Steve
take a
said
look.
that he wanted you to come out and get your car.
Yeah, well, you know, I told Viv we'll probably get something else this coming year. So
He
we'll
even
see.
told Larry to come out and he wanted to get him into a new car.
Well, Larry's been needing a new car since he bought the car he's had. We've been trashing that poor car for a long time. But you've had it, what, four or five years now?
It's a 2005. So
Well, see, it's time to trade it.
7
Yeah,
years.
that's
yeah.
what Vivian's van is, and I think she's ready for a new one.
Well,
Been ready for a while, right?
At
Yeah,
least-
that's right. Yeah.
it's Steve is no longer being with us that often to where you have to worry about your truck being destroyed again.
Yeah, you're talking about Stevie, the kid. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He doesn't come
That's
around
Steve
as
Veloz.
much as he used to
Yeah,
damage
no,
my
Steve
truck.
Veloz-
He's waiting for the new vehicle.
Yeah.
yeah.
He wants that
When
Mustang.
I get something new in, Vivian gets a Mustang or something. He'll take care of
come over
business
and
then.
take it
Yeah,
right then.
yeah. I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
Can I drive it this weekend, Dad? That kind of thing.
Yeah. And then we
Who
have
else?
Roberts' funeral home.
Oh, you're
cemetery.
working on this morning. You having trouble
I'm
this
trying,
morning?
sir.
A little holiday lapse here or
Yeah,
what?
kind of laid back, taking it easy.
Yeah. A little too much eggnog or?
Well, a little frustration, so I decided to work on some things. But you got Roberts' Funeral Home and Cemeteries here in Ocala and Marion County for the last 100+ years, and they're here to serve your needs in the hour of need, and be able to come and talk to you and give you ideas on how to handle the grief area of your life at that point.
Mhm.
Other than that,
Well, listen, it's a time that happens to all of us. We're going to have to learn to deal with it. And I tell people, deal with reputable people. So that's what. In Roberts, and listen, buying the car is probably not quite in the same category, but it's an important decision. So go out there and deal with people that sell a good product and you can trust and work with. And
it's a very important decision.
yeah, Ford Lincoln and Roberts. And anybody else we want to beat up on this morning, or is that it for now?
I
or?
think that's good enough.
Yeah.
I think we beat up on the two.
Well, I have to tell you, Larry has some plants in here, poinsettias and all that stuff. And
Yes.
what is that? A camellia? What?
That's Camellia. Yes.
Camellia.
Yeah.
I have to tell you that all this stuff looks a lot better than that wreath you had. Okay. That wreath was.
I don't think the wreath was real.
The wreath, I don't know. But Dan said he was responsible for the wreath.
Yeah, it was his wreath.
Yeah.
Got it from Roberts.
Nah, he got it. He
He
stole
took
it.
it off.
You know that
took it off.
wreath they lay down at the National Cemetery? So
That's one of
he
them.
made a raid down there, I think. But
Maybe we could get.
it was a good looking. There was just something odd about it. I can't tell you.
I
what.
think it was because it was on the easel. It made
It may be.
Yeah.
It may be. But
One-
the stuff looks good.
yeah.
Not you, but the
There-
wreath.
there
We're
it
trashing the
He
wreath.
is listening.
They're trashing the wreath.
It was Hank's funeral wreath.
Hey, talk to us
man.
about that golf tournament.
What do you want to know about it?
Tell us about it. What have we got planned?
I mean, it's a WOCA sponsored event.
It is?
What course?
It's the last time I heard.
Are we
Have you
sure?
changed your mind? The wreath was beautiful.
Are you
all right?
playing?
I don't play. You know better than that.
We saw you. Yes, you occupied
last
the
year.
course. Yeah.
Played last year. Is that what you call it? Did you call that golf?
Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, that's okay.
I need a ball at the,
we call it
about
cheap,
the
easy
size
fun.
of a soccer ball to hit it. You know.
Okay. It's fun. It's just fun. Everybody comes out. They have a good time. They pay a little bit of money. They get a great dinner, a good time golfing, and all the benefits and the money go to the vets. You guys can distribute it amongst the needs of the.
Let me tell you,
great cause.
People, we need it as much then as we need it this past. We had a great Christmas, by the way. We, thanks to a lot of our friends at Republican Women's Club were very generous to us. A lot of other groups, the Top of the World ladies were good. The Summer Glen veterans were outstanding to us. We had a big giveaway last Friday. Like, not giveaway, but we had about, 35 people down there coming to get goodies and, help pay some bills and do some gift cards. And that was mainly the Summer Glen guys that showed up Friday to help us out. So,
that's
but, veterans, and I know you're doing a commercial for us now, but veterans are just as hungry in February as they are in December. Or
yeah, that's
June.
The thing. You got to keep it going year round.
People tend to forget that. I mean, it's, if
the holiday spirit is wonderful.
It's wonderful, and I'm glad people are so generous during the holidays, and we couldn't do it without them. But got to put food on the table the rest of the year too. And a lot of these folks are just, they're ill, they're in bad shape physically, sometimes mentally. They're not capable of taking care of themselves. So it's a year-round thing, and I'm just one of those folks that think that heroes shouldn't go hungry.
I agree, 100%.
And we try to help them out where we can.
Well, the February 16th, I think
it is 16th.
February 16th date, $60. You come out, you have a great day of playing golf, free food, prizes.
Yeah, Sonny's again this year, I guess.
Sonny's again this year.
Very good.
We're getting together with a lot of sponsors, provide a few little prizes here and there. So if you'd like to be one of the sponsors of the golf tournament, if you have a business out there, have a little product you want to get out there, just get in touch with me here at the studio. Or Dan at WOCA.com. Let me know what you have, and we'll put it in the gift bags for all the guys coming out participating. We have room for about 120 golfers. So plenty of room, plenty of opportunities to come out, have a good time, and help a great cause.
And we're signing up teams as well at, was it $60 per player?
It is $60 per player.
$60 per player this year, which is still a good deal because you get all that stuff included, and then you probably get a chance to get some freebies because we get a lot of gifts we're giving away.
Yeah, a lot of gifts. And what some of you may or may not realize is that 100% of the proceeds from the tournament go to Vets Helping Vets. So there are no administrative fees. We don't keep anything. It all goes to the Vets Helping Vets. So it's not a money-making thing for us at all. It's just a great cause to help out the veterans in our area.
Is there room on your foursome? Can we play with you? Or?
Okay. I got to run, guys. Thanks for having me.
You and Larry, and kind of like a demolition. It's just like a demolition derby almost.
For the most part, yeah. Well, we put the brush guard on your golf cart,
Huh?
I'm not on Dan's team.
You're not
I don't think so, right?
No?
I don't know. We'll see.
No, last year I wasn't.
Last year he was on Dad's team.
Yeah.
So that he could yell at him.
They have higher standards.
Is that what it is? They have higher standards? They won't let us on the course if that's the case. We have to get the management team away from the course at the day we're on.
And we still think it's going to be Spruce Creek
South. Links of Spruce Creek South for the most part.
It's probably going to be there.
Yeah.
Well, I told you earlier they hadn't fixed all the damage from last year yet.
Yes, the windows are still broken, so they're still working on that.
So we might as well, what the hell?
Well, we say we're the Lady Dames when we register, so that they think
they get the bill.
Yeah.
I like that.
And they think we're all just nice little old ladies playing the golf. See. And then they just, okay, good.
Yeah.
And then they see a bunch of you guys.
The little old ladies have that kind of language. I didn't know that.
Well, yeah.
A lot of
playing golf with you.
Yeah, a lot of four-letter words being talked.
And it wasn't 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah.
That's right. Anyway, have a good time.
Sponsors too. So
yes, we're always looking for sponsors for holes. Always looking for sponsors for the prizes. We got 2. John's telling me he's got 2. He's got his fingers up. That's the wrong finger, John. Put it down.
we've got a couple, and actually, are we embarrassing you, are we?
No, not that the camera's on us or anything. Oh boy!
I'm surprised you knew what that meant.
Yes,
given the sheltered life that you've been leading.
It's a sheltered, spoiled life. My silver spoon is calling, so I'm going to go. You guys enjoy yourselves.
We'll talk. Now that you're going, you probably will.
FCC hasn't seen this yet.
I have to go deal with them now. Thank you. Thanks for that, John.
We got, anyway, it's coming up, so we'll be talking about it some more, about 6 weeks away. I've got a couple of guys out roaming around the town selling sponsorships and recruiting people to play, and the response has been pretty good. So if you're looking for a good time, come on down and join us on the 16th. You'll get a few laughs.
Definitely laughs.
It's definitely a good time, right?
Right.
Good time had by all.
Have they still got the petition going down there to keep us off the
Oh, they're
course?
trying. Yeah, they're trying to circulate that.
Yeah.
Actually,
Well, the
you know,
residents,
they liked it. I don't. Maybe because we made everybody else look so good to play down there that they, by comparison, they look good. So,
Sir, even those 6-7-year-olds look better than we
tell you
do.
what.
And I heard there's going
I
to
think
be
we're
no
getting,
competition now either. All those people that wanted to get and play
They're not
by
gonna-
us or,
Yeah.
or around us.
They're not taking a
they're
chance
taking
again.
the whole day off
Yeah,
just
they're
to
not.
be safe.
It was a little dangerous out there because no telling where those balls were going. And I think Ford is putting a car out there for the hole-in-one. I'm not sure what
Heard
kind
that,
yet. Yeah, that's what
they
Tom
haven't
said.
decided
but,
on which type.
I'm not sure what it is exactly, but
Trying to get the Lincoln out, right? He's trying to.
I don't know. I don't know what it's going
Lincoln
to be.
Motors
I don't know what it's going to
sending
be.
out
Trying to get
whatever.
Mercury back.
Yeah, it's probably his 1938 Mercury or something.
There you go.
I like that. John, you got some. We got a quarterly thing coming up for the
Yeah,
park.
we got
don't
the quarterly memorial coming up on January the 5th over at the park. Hopefully it'll be outside if it doesn't get to be the silly weather that we occasionally get, but it starts at 10 a.m. as usual. I don't know who the readers are. Last time we talked, Julius couldn't remember. He was having one of those
Julius?
senior moments.
Yeah.
Like the rest of
How long has that been going on for? About what, 6-7 years now?
Yeah,
It's been a while.
It's the longest continuous running
Memorial
event like
service,
that,
yeah.
that we
Yeah.
know of. So it's
Does anybody see Lamar anymore? And Lamar Hunt kind of really was the brains behind that, started that off.
Lamar
yeah.
did it, and I believe you'll see a check from Lamar. He
Oh, is that
asked
right?
me what our address was. He wanted
Lamar's
to
a
make
good.
another support for us,
No.
as he usually does around the Christmas
Yeah, he's
time
pretty.
and a
He and
couple
his
other
wife are
times
very
during the year,
generous.
so.
Yeah, you know, Lamar's an interesting guy. Chaplanger in Vietnam, had some interesting stories about falling asleep on the trail, and the next thing you knew, you could hear North Vietnamese kind of chattering away.
Just
Feet
time to
away.
wake up.
That's a good
Time to wake
nightmare.
up, right?
Yeah,
It's time to
you
wake
wake.
up.
Yeah,
That's
well,
reality.
keep your eyes closed. You don't want to see it coming, but he got lucky. But Lamar's an interesting guy.
Did a lot of good things in our community.
Yeah, and this is one of his projects that he started off, and he did a lot of it. He was, with us the very first Stuff the Bus, so he's done a lot of stuff, really, amongst other things. You got any other events coming up?
I don't think there's any real big events going on. I want to remind
Nothing out at the VFW?
At the
or
VFW,
anything
we
like that?
have our 2 days a week dinners. We do spaghetti on Wednesday from 4:30 to about 6:30, and we do fish on Friday, same time. So
All that
yeah,
food you brought in was from where?
that all came, most of it came from the VFW. They always do stuff in, they actually had some.
What's that post number again? I always forget that.
4493 over in Candler,
4493.
just past the high school a little bit. So
Still doing,
we're high
you doing
school, so
bingo out there and doing
they
bingo?
do bar bingo.
Yeah, the bar bingo. And you do bingo down at the American
And,
Legion still.
Yeah, we'll talk about the American Legion, but they have what we have over there. And then during the Christmas time, one of the ladies put out a little jar for tips, and used that tip jar that we didn't even know was out there to get some of those macaronis and some of that canned stuff. So we also have a member that's trying to work with us, and I brought over some of those pound cakes, but he brings in tons of bakery goods. So we've been sort of spreading them around.
Good.
Because it's hard for us to store all that stuff. But
Yeah. Well, we do. Usually Mondays and Thursdays we get it from Publix.
From Publix. So.
And we're, people come down and pick up groceries, and we hand that stuff out as well.
Yeah, so that's always good, and he's going to continue to do that.
Good.
So we'll
Did
just
we
work
also
on
get
that.
food in from the school?
Oh, yeah. Hammond
Yep,
Bowen. Yeah.
Hammond Bowen did their.
Yeah.
Yep, Hammond Bowen
Yeah.
did that thing. They're always up there doing old times and loaded a truck, right?
Loaded that truck.
Yeah, well, you and I were out there thanking one of the classes a couple of weeks ago. By the way, they don't want you to come back. In fact, she called me. No, it was you. They said I was okay, but they were kind of concerned about you.
That.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
She said you were okay.
You know, no one's ever
Not
said
what
that.
I heard.
No, they were pretty blunt with him, John. They told him to his face they didn't want him to come back. These are the kids.
Well,
You know, the
yeah,
kids
I
don't
know.
come back.
Well, you know, unfortunately, the first time he went out there, he went with me. So it's like-
Well, that was a prerequisite.
it was not uphill from there.
Sort of the
or
favorite
whatever,
place
right?
for a lot of veterans
Yeah.
to go
Oh, yeah.
because what it's named after and who it's named after, and just they're real responsive to veterans anyway.
And they-
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll get some more information. Then we'll probably play a little trivia this morning. Kathy can't play because Pete wanted the other day.
Oh, no.
I was trying to be nasty to her, and Pete stepped in. So
Pete's always a good guy.
he's a hero, you know.
What can I say?
We'll be right back.
Life's journey has many ups and downs, but you can take comfort in the knowledge that Robert's Funeral Home is here to serve you and your family with loving care and dignity. The Roberts family has been providing their caring services since 1898 and offer traditional, custom, cremation, and veteran services. Pre-made arrangements are also available. Roberts Funeral Homes. Great funeral homes serve great people.
Great news, everyone. The world didn't come to an end. And frankly, I kind of had my doubts. Nobody's more excited about that news than the folks at Ford Lincoln of Ocala. This means they can now resume with their year-end celebration by hosting a 100-hour sales event. I'm here to tell you there's never been a better time to enjoy a new Ford and take advantage of year-end savings on the best-selling vehicles in America, backed by Ford Lincoln of Ocala's low price guarantee. Let's face it, the holidays mean different things to different people. But a new Ford in your driveway? That means you're having a great holiday. If it's a new truck you're after, Ford Lincoln of Ocala still has a great selection of remaining 2012 built Ford Tough trucks with a total savings of up to $10,000 off MSRP. The clock's ticking. Get to Ford Lincoln of Ocala and let's celebrate together before the real deadline arrives on their 100-hour sales event going on, well, for 100 hours. Or point and click your way to savings at FordofOcala.com.
Let's celebrate.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source, 1370 a.m. and the new 96.7 FM.
What's up, Ocala?
This is Joel
And Amanda.
with What's Up Ocala Magazine and Media
We want to invite you to come see Ocala's top fashion designers.
and models.
The New Year's Kickoff Business Expo begins at 1:30 with a never-to-forget fashion show following at 6 p.m. What's Up Ocala will have food, live music, and vendors showcasing their new products for 2013.
Categories of fashion include dress to impress, equine, business casual, a weekend away, local designer showcases from game day dresses, and the Tutu Factory. We will be ending the show with a complete bridal transformation. This is the largest fashion show Ocala has ever seen, emceed by the one and only Kelly Hart with performances by local and national bands.
Sponsorships and vendor booths are still available. Be sure to attend this free event and stay connected to our updates by visiting our Facebook page or downloading the What's Up app from the App Store and Android Market. It's free.
The 2013 Ocala's Choice Awards will be presented at the show. This is an event you don't want to miss.
What's up, Ocala?
This is Wendy and Will of Dex Imaging. By now, you might be tired of hearing us talk about Dex. So instead of us telling you how much Dex can save you on your copier costs and how we can help your office be more efficient, we thought we'd let Judy tell you.
Hi, I'm Judy, the office manager of Graper Facial Institute here in Gainesville. We operate 8 medical offices, so I was looking for a document management system that would copy, scan, print, and share documents among all of our locations, but something that was within our budget. Dex Imaging recommended a Kyocera with their Index solution. It's been amazing. This machine does everything we need it to, including a direct scan into our current electronic medical record software. Dex even trained us on how to use it. Dex has been a tremendous help in making our practice and my job more efficient.
Thanks, Judy. And remember, call Dex Imaging today for a free workflow analysis to find out how you can save 20 to 30% on your copying and document management needs, just like Graper Facial Institute. Dex Imaging, 352-224-1816. That's 224-1816.
Hi, this is Joe, and I'm your host for the new show, Damage Control, every Tuesday morning at 10:30 a.m., brought to you by Damage Control Services. We're going to be discussing floods, fires, storm and tree damage, sinkholes, mold, and many other disasters that you need to know about, how to prevent and prepare for them, as well as what to do when it happens and what to expect after it happens. This is Damage Control, Tuesdays at 10:30, right here on The Source.
Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's rejoin Hank Whittier in Veterans News.
Well, Larry, we're back. But what you need to do is just shut off the radio part. Have them just watch all this mess up north.
Oh, yeah.
What a mess that is. My God, the airports are closed. You can't get home. They're stuck in the airport for 3 days. Oh, God. And I'm watching all these people in these snowdrifts.
Yeah.
I complain about the heat, but when I look at that, I'm going, oh, my God.
Yeah, right. You forget what it was like.
Oh,
right?
It comes back to you in spades because that's slipping and sliding and digging out. Did you live in the city?
I lived on Long Island.
Yeah, well, we lived in the city most of our existence up there, and you shovel out a space, and it takes you all damn day to shovel it
That's
out.
it.
Because no one had garages.
Yeah.
And then you take off. Well, but then you take off and go to work, and you come back, and someone's in your space.
Yeah.
And they're not moving.
Yeah.
So it's great neighborhood relations.
Yeah.
Guys that never shoveled a foot of snow in their life or an inch of snow in their life take your space after you shoveled it out.
Never gone.
And they're not moving. Anyway, it looks like New England and upstate New York are really going to get hammered, 12 inches of snow and more. Oh, well. We're back here in sunny Ocala.
A white New Year's.
Yeah, yes. I like sand. It's white sand.
White sand, right?
Good morning. You're on the air with Hank.
Good morning.
It is. How you doing?
After struggling in the muds of Korea, I was glad to see the snows.
Were you?
In Arlington, Virginia, where I carried mail.
Yeah.
To end out my government service.
There you go. Yeah. Well, mud's preferable to snow for me.
Much more. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. When were you in Korea? During Korean War?
Yes.
Okay. Army?
Marine Corps.
Very good. Outstanding. You didn't do the Chosen, did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough not to.
You missed that fun party, huh?
I didn't need to go there.
Yeah. Is that where you're from, though, Virginia?
No, I'm born in New York, raised in the Panama Canal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Would you work for the government?
No, my dad did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, mud's okay. Mud has its place. We were just looking. I don't know if you've been watching the news, but they're getting 15, 16 inches of snow.
I know. That's crazy, man.
It is crazy stuff. You know what? I look out the window and I see grass, and it's kind of nice, guy.
That's
65 degrees. I'm all right. All right, man. Have a good one.
Have a happy New Year to you.
Yeah,
all.
You too, buddy. Thanks for your service too, my friend.
You bet, buddy. Bye.
You have another call. You want to take
okay.
Get another
wants
call?
to reminisce about a white Christmas, I guess.
Yeah, you got another one on.
Good morning. You're on there with Hank.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, hey, Curly. How you doing?
Curly this morning.
Yeah, where are you? You're laid up, are you? Too much celebrating?
I'm home, and I just wanted to let everybody know down here that I called them this morning with a heavy heart. My mom passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and they're going to have a funeral at 2 o'clock on Saturday. And just want everybody to know that's the only reason I'm not there. Wishing everybody had a Merry Christmas and hope a prosperous New Year.
Listen, we're sorry for your loss, my friend. So, we'll be thinking about you, saying some prayers. How old was your mom? What was her name?
Her name was Helen W. Jones, and she was 95 years old.
Is that right?
She missed the obituaries by a couple of hours yesterday. They didn't get it there in time, but it will be for the OBs tomorrow.
All righty. All right, Guy. Listen, our thoughts and prayers are with you, my friend.
And we thank you so very much. And hello and goodbye, Marion County.
Take it easy now.
You too. Bye-bye.
Well, you know, again, that's one of those things that happens. By the way, let me get better soon. Paulette Laser's in the hospital, had a stroke the other day. I don't know if you realize that. Steve's wife. Yeah. Yeah, just came on her all of a sudden Saturday morning, but she's improving, getting better day by day, so hopefully she'll...
Steve's at home by himself?
Well, can you believe he can actually take care of himself, you know, because he had Paulette convinced for years that he couldn't,
I know.
You know, but obviously he's doing okay.
Much better
so there's a lesson there for her that he doesn't need the picking up after him that she's been doing.
Well,
you know.
He has to learn.
That's right. He's learning quickly, obviously.
Very quickly.
Anyway, she had we were a little concerned about her for a few days, but it looks like she's going to be on the mend. She's over there at Monroe, and thank you, those folks at Monroe who are working with her and getting her better. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
And this is your second opportunity now to, I can see Ford probably coming and hiring you on because you're getting to be that good at it.
I disagree with that. I totally disagree. But
they just heard their commercials, so you got to just repeat their commercials. They got a 100-hour sale going on.
I don't have a format in front of me to.
Well, you weren't listening to Larry then.
That's all right. I'll concede to him. But you got Ford and Lincoln of Ocala and Bellevue, and they are more than happy to help you in your vehicle needs and trying to pick you out that certain vehicle, a nice Ford or Lincoln, and to help you purchase it or lease it from them.
A lot of people are leasing, aren't they?
Yeah, they are leasing.
Yeah, a lot of folks do that.
We forget that because I've always bought a car. And
depending upon your circumstances,
Yeah.
sometimes it's smarter to lease, but your own circumstances dictate that.
But whether you own it,
I've been never smart enough to do any of that.
But that's my problem. But whether you own or lease, you take your vehicle in, they will more than happily service it for you and work with you any way they can. And they've got a new store that's going to be opening up hopefully this spring in Bellevue and be able to handle that area of the...
And who's the chef celebrity out there? There's a celebrity chef that is kind of a big shot out there.
You mean Steve Pelosi?
Steve Pelosi.
He is a fantastic cook.
He's been telling me that for about 2 years now. I have yet to sample anything.
Well, I've not sampled his products, but I can understand that he is very good.
Well, you can tell me anything you want unless I sample it.
You can brag about it, but you got to prove it.
I mean, I know Fords are good because I drive a Ford, but I don't. He tells me what a great cook he is.
Wasn't he the chef at the drawing for the car? Was he out at the grill cooking those hot dogs and hamburgers?
That might have been. No, I think he was in charge of.
He fixed it.
No, he blew up the balloons. Yeah. He was in charge of the balloons. The white balloons
I thought that
day.
was Tom.
That was Steve Pelosi's doing.
Yeah, I thought that was Tom also that was blowing up the balloons.
But I mean, here's a guy that tells me every time I talk to him, that he did this and he's a chef and I'm going, well, I've had a few hot dogs, but other than that,
Well, his specialty is hot dogs.
But at least he sells a good product.
Exactly.
Fords and Lincolns.
They are
good. They're good products.
Very good products.
And the other people are. We'll let John do this one. He's
we're
out
going
of
to let
practice.
John?
Yeah,
He's been so remiss.
He hasn't done it in a while.
Yeah.
Kept me away.
I got to make sure you can do it right.
Well, he had you in training. He saw what you can do, so he decided to step back in again.
Right, another star, right?
He's worried now.
Listen, there's enough room in Hollywood for both of you.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll concede.
Right after we get that special package at Roberts.
Exactly.
Now that they took his wreath away.
I didn't understand that wreath. We have to get him another one. Is that what it amounts to?
It wasn't mine. It was Larry's.
They have the guards now at the National Cemetery.
That was not only his Christmas gift. That was 50 years of service to WOCA.
Oh, is that what it was? Hey. Joe takes care of you very well around here.
Christmas bonus, all rolled into one.
All rolled into one. Yeah, well, I guess we were starting to pick on Roberts, but we went astray as usual.
Whatever.
without Curly here to watch us and keep us.
He's got to keep us in too.
But Robert's seriously been doing business for over 100 years in our community and meeting your needs in that time when you really need some friend to be helping you out. And we really call them a friend because they're good in the community and always good to their people in their time of need. And we have many veterans that can attest to the exemplary service that they receive.
I think if you took a survey, at least of the veterans, the overwhelming majority do use Roberts, mainly because they know other people who have and have been happy with them, and they know what they're doing, and
they understand veterans'
they feel like they're being taken care of. So hopefully it won't happen to you over the holidays. I'm sorry to hear about Curly's mom. I know she was pretty ill, but those things do still happen, and realistically you need to make those plans for those things because they are going to happen. So again, that's a gift to your family.
It's inevitable it will happen.
We'll just get through with Christmas and gift giving and all of that, but the real gift is to save your family all that heartache, because that's just a bad time. And so you can save them that by doing a little pre-planning. John, I kind of broke you off before, so you pretty much know. We talked about the park.
We
you got anything
talked
else
about
coming
the
up?
Park. We can remind everybody again because it's important. Is the quarterly memorial is over at the park, January the 5th, and it starts as usual at 10 a.m. So remind everybody there, and we
usually have about 200 roughly names, 150 to 200 names.
Probably. We've sort of been, I guess you can call it lucky, as the names have been sort of decreasing for a while. Now, I guess it's all over. There's less and less of our World War tours left. So the names we're reading now are Vietnamers and the Korean War, a lot of them. So
we're just talking about that.
And it's so important, and we invite the families to come over and so because for some of them it's the only time they actually receive any kind of
recognition,
and that's sort of sad to say, but sometimes that's the only time they get. And we always have, again, Roberts is there helping us, and we always thank the sheriff for coming over and sending his honor guard over there. So
he'll be out of office. I think Ed's last day is the 7th of
coming up pretty soon,
January. So he'll, after all those years, he'll
Chris Blair takes over.
Chris. I saw Chris was out there last week when I went to our advisory board meeting. Chris was there with a couple of his people on the transition team. So we'll have a new sheriff come the 8th. He'll be. I guess that's when he's sworn in. I know. But anyway, it's been a long, good run for Ed, and Ed's done a great job, and we're going to miss him. He's been good to, I told you about myself personally, very well, my family, but he's become a good friend. So
good.
He's also done a lot. Made sure that there's a lot in the community that we can thank Ed for.
And a lot for veterans particularly. So we appreciate it. I'm sure Chris will try to do the best he can. We're looking forward to working with him.
Definitely.
And we'll see where it all goes. But a lot of changes. And we talked about the World War II guys. We've lost a couple of good friends this year, and World War II guys, and like I say, it's dwindling. The numbers are really going down, so it's sad to see, but it's part of life.
Hear any more about Jim's book?
No, I haven't heard a whole lot how many Jim McHenry's book, Hell in the Pacific. I know it's still on, they still have it at Simon & Schuster and all that, and you can get it online. I understand sales been okay. I don't know. He got a nice check in the beginning, and gave him an advance check. And I understand sales have been okay, nothing great, but nothing, but selling some. And it is it's a good
book, right?
It really is a good book.
It reads well, and it's called Hell in the Pacific. It's about 3 battles, basically during World War II, Guadalcanal, Cape Gloucester, and Peleliu, which the Marines and the Navy took part in, some Army troops. But it's a infantryman's view of the war and of the circumstance. But it kind of puts you in touch with what it was like during that time from that point of view. Not from a general's point of view, but from I guess at that time he was a sergeant. But you know what? I tell my wife and I were talking about him the other day. And one, he lived to be a good age. He was almost 93. But he talked about that for so long, about his intent to write a book, and
Yeah.
he finally lived long enough to see it actually
To do it,
published,
yep.
and
Well-
published by a prestigious company like Simon & Schuster.
Yeah,
so.
he autographed a book for me. That was great.
Is that the one he made out to Stupid? Was that?
Yeah, that's the one.
I thought that was mine. I didn't know it was yours.
I thought it was mine.
Maybe he called us all that. I don't know.
Maybe he did, because we haven't written a book about us yet.
Yeah, but we've sent it off to a couple of people who really enjoyed it and say, hey, it reminds them when, those things, because it was reality.
Yeah,
it
very
was a good
much.
book. But anyway, but again, it's always sad to let your friends go, but that's part of getting older, and I'm sure they'll be talking about us pretty soon the same way. Or maybe not.
Maybe
glad
not.
he's gone. I don't know.
They'll be glad to get rid of us.
Yeah. You guys, we talked last week about the mentors. I know you're out recruiting heavily
We are,
for that.
and we're still looking for more mentors. We'd love to be able to put a class together of about 20.
Pretty soon, right? You want to do that pretty
We
soon?
want to do that this
Yeah.
month, towards the end of the month.
In January, you're talking
January.
about? Yeah.
And we've got quite a few, but we're still looking for more. We're looking for younger mentors, also for people who are young that
People
are
in
getting
their
into
50s.
trouble.
Probably.
At least younger
Yeah.
than us.
Yeah.
Whole
Yeah,
bunch
50s
younger.
is young to us.
That's right.
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
Kids,
At least of generations of before.
Yeah.
But
It'd be nice to get some of the guys from Iraq and Afghanistan
Yes, sir.
involved. 'Cause
And we'd love to have some ladies to get involved further with us. We've got a few, but we're looking for more.
right now, I think the predominance of the mentors are Vietnam age vets, basically.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Most all of them are Vietnam vets.
Anything
Yep,
else
so-
about no? Okay,
Yeah,
we're ready
well,
for that.
I guess just a little update on the court. Starting on the 9th, it'll be our first session, standalone veterans court.
That's right.
So that's
1
going to
o'clock
be
in the
a
Oh.
interesting experience for us. So
Let me mention that the VFW is, of course, they do their Friday night fish fries. But in addition to that, New Year's Eve, they're having a big party out there at 4209.
4209, the one with the tank.
36 with the big tank outside.
Yes.
So go over there. It starts at 8:30, and then 8:30 until when they throw you out, I guess. But it's 8:30. Have a good time. They got finger food and all that stuff available, and they're looking forward to a great time out there. And they put on a good show. So that's 4209. It's a VFW post. All are welcome. They'll love to have you and go out there and enjoy and ring in the new year, 2013. It's kind of hard to believe. We survived that Mayan calendar thing and all of that foolishness, You know how many TV programs they
is
have?
this survival? Is this survival what survival
Best
looks
we
like?
can do under the circumstances.
Hey,
But
you never know what's
I mean, that
gonna
was a
happen.
whole cottage industry in and of itself. That whole the world is ending foolishness.
yeah.
I mean, yeah. And there were people who apparently out there buying shelters and the rest of that. Whatever. Dig a hole in the ground. And, stock up and all that. But if you were basing it on that,
You're lost.
you're lost. But in any case,
You got a nice hole in the ground.
you got a nice hole in the ground. But apparently there's a big industry that's revolving around all of that. And I say I must have watched at least a half a dozen documentaries on that, and people were making money and laughing the whole time. I bet they were over in the Riviera someplace celebrating.
The officials of the country down there, Mexico, kind of got upset that people damaged some of the ruins down
Oh, is
there.
that right? The Mayan
Yes.
ruins?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's play what?
Let's
play trivia. We'll try to give away our last Walmart card of the year.
Kathy, is not for you.
By the way, Pete brought in, I keep on forgetting to bring him in, he brought in some Chick-fil-A thing, and I continue to forget to bring them in. But Pete's always coming by the office, giving us stuff for veterans and rescuing damsels in distress with Kathy last week. I was trying to give Kathy a bad time. He wouldn't let me.
He broke it off.
Yeah, he broke it off. I'll pick up on Kathy later. But, okay, so if you want to play trivia with us, I have a Walmart card for $20. And if you're still out there, if anybody's left in town, which I'm beginning to think that
I'm wondering if we are even going to have a call.
A lot of people on vacation.
Well, we got to have somebody to call.
No, we're open. We
Yeah.
are open. We're down there today. I got the troops down there, expecting a handful of people come by.
Yeah,
but
we
not
weren't
much.
here last week, but we're here this week.
We are here this week.
That's
Well,
right.
You don't think they take the time to record this, do you?
Heavens no.
Larry, what's the number here? Someone wants to play trivia with, and this is. I'll tell you, it's a non-history.
A non-history.
Well, it's history in a sense. It's more about showbiz.
Oh, showbiz history.
Showbiz history.
All right. Well, the phone number is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, and that is 622-WOCA. If you'd like to call and play Hank's game.
I want to play my game. No one wants to play with us today.
622-9622.
Okay. Well, in the meantime,
They're all
maybe we'll play
they're all
amongst
out at
ourselves.
Ford.
They're probably
Looking
out
at
there
those
practicing
great
their
new cars.
Well, that and their golf
Either
swing.
call in and play trivia or go out and see great new cars and used cars.
Oh,
and
they're
trucks.
over at Roberts making arrangements for us. You know.
Yeah, for us.
For us,
Do you have any more of those $2.99 specials?
I don't think so right now.
If that's Kathy, she cannot play.
Good morning,
But
you're
she
on
can
the air.
spoil it.
Okay, gonna play trivia?
You're going to play trivia with me, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. John mentioned someone who just died, Hollywood star. What was his name, John? Charles During?
Yep.
You know who he was?
Oh yeah, he
The big
was a
heavy guy?
set guy.
Yeah.
Gray-haired comedian. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, he played a lot. He always played a lot of roles where he was the crooked cop, you know.
Right.
All right. Are you into showbiz at all?
A little bit.
A little bit, okay. He won a Tony. You know what a Tony is?
Yes.
Okay, for Broadway.
Broadway shows.
Okay,
Yeah.
Broadway show. So he won a Tony for a Broadway show.
Oh.
Am I tossing you a curveball?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was now.
Burt Reynolds played in it?
Pardon?
No. He's trying to confuse you because he wants to keep the card for himself. Okay? So don't listen to Robert, okay? I'll lead you down the path here.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see. How can I give you a hint? It sounds like a man. No, not strong. He won a Tony. Let me try to think. Well, okay. It had something to do with a cat.
A cat?
A cat. On a roof.
Well, no, I can't. I can't think of it right now.
Okay. All right.
But
Let me give you another. Another Charles During thing. Okay. He played a crooked cop in a movie with Paul Newman and Robert Redford.
No, my mind's a blank today.
Okay. What does a bee do?
The what?
A bee. You know what a bee is? A bee.
A bee, yes, a bug.
What does a bee do to you if you grab it or touch it?
Stings you.
All right. So that was it was the sting. The Sting. The Sting was a movie with Robert Redford. So you got it. So you got $20. You come over here and get your Walmart card. The other one was a cat on a hot tin roof.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, that was back a long time ago.
And I read the obituary too.
Did you? Yeah. Well, he's an interesting guy. So he really was.
He was a great actor.
He was a good actor, and he was really a hero. And people don't realize what a hero he was. As I say, he served his country well. So you got $20 coming. Now
I'll be over Monday.
Okay. And listen, if Robert Wood is here, do not take him out to lunch, okay?
Oh, okay.
And who is this? Who's playing?
Betty.
Betty. Okay, Betty, I got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Good
Happy
one.
New Year.
Oh, you too, darling. Happy New Year to
Stay
you.
away from the alcohol.
Always do.
Okay.
I have other vices. That's not one of them. Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Maybe we'll tell you about the other vices.
I've have enough.
Alcohol
I don't want to
is
hear
not
it.
one of them anymore. Not that I didn't at one time, but we all went there. And there's your Walmart card, Larry.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought those were pretty good hints.
They were very good hints.
Very good hints.
We'll have to get back to business as usual at the beginning of the year. Is that the right time? 9:58 already?
Which time? Yeah, that time is right. Yeah.
Well, I know. I never go by your clock.
No, the clock is
that clock is never right.
If we chip in, and can we get that clock fixed?
That clock was right about 15 minutes.
That was 15 minutes ago. Right on the button. Hey, we got to go. We don't have time to play any more trivia. We'll get back to it in the weeks come. Got a lot of guests coming on in January. We'll try to make arrangements with some other people, give you some information. Happy New Year. That for us?
Yeah, you want to take it?
I'll take it, and then they probably...
Good morning, you're on the air with Hank.
Hello, Hank. This is Kathy.
Kathy.
New Year.
It is a happy New
I hear
Year.
about you moving to a different site.
Who? We are?
Yeah, you all.
Well, we've already moved. We're down on 8th Avenue, Northeast 8th
But
Avenue.
you were moving again.
Well, you know what? We've talked to some governmental agencies that talk about giving us some space after sometime next year, but we're not. It hasn't been confirmed yet. But we're working on some, because, honestly, even with a much bigger office that we have now, we're doing so much more that we really kind of out even grown that. So hopefully the county or one of the other government agencies will come through and give us some additional space, I hope. But that's it. We got a year's lease where we're at, so we're okay for the next. We're okay until the next spring, next summer, and then we'll be seriously looking to kind of expand. So, if you want to make that big donation so we can afford that, because I told them in the contract I have a penthouse office coming, so
cool.
Yeah, big bucks,
The style to which you want
Kathy,
to be
I hope you had a good Christmas, and I know you're going to have a great New Year.
I hope you did too.
And you get your gift from.
Thank you for all that you do. You do so much for so many.
Well, Kathy, listen. People deserve what they get. Really, in our case, the people we work with have earned it. Okay, so that's
absolutely.
Absolutely. Kathy, thank you for all your support too, girl. And happy New Year. And we'll play trivia with you next year.
Yeah.
And Pete will come to your rescue again. All right, girl. Behave yourself.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. Listen, happy New Year. It's been a great year for us. Happy New Year. I hope we all have a prosperous, very, very prosperous New Year and a safe New Year. Stay safe. Don't drink and drive. And I want to thank you for your service. And as this year and every year, God bless America, everybody.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala. The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. Mostly sunny today, but cool, high 60 to 64. Clear and cold tonight, lows ranging from 34 in a few inland spots to 43 along the coast. Sunshine mixing with clouds tomorrow and a little milder, high 67 to 71. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a chance for a shower and thunderstorm or two, high 76 to 80. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. It's getting quieter at the unemployment office. First-time claims for jobless benefits dropped 12,000 last week to the lowest level in nearly 5 years. Ford is creating more jobs, more than 2,300, as it sinks $750 million into expansion projects at several Detroit area plants. The company says it's responding to aggressive consumer demand. Like a playground game of double dog dare, the White House and Congress are edging closer to the fiscal cliff with no signs of a compromise in sight. A trip to Florida was delayed this morning when a Southwest Airlines 737 took a wrong turn off a runway and onto the grass at a Long Island, New York airport. No one was hurt. The winter storm that dumped more than a foot of snow on parts of the Midwest is now making a mess in the Northeast. It knocked out power to hundreds of thousands and delayed hundreds of flights. The award for most expensive downtown parking meters in the nation goes to Chicago, where one parking spot will set you back $6.50 an hour. It's still less expensive than a parking ticket, though. This is ABC News.
Introducing a faster way to push to talk. AT&T Enhanced Push to Talk. AT&T delivers more of what your business needs. Instant communication, up to 1,000 contacts, plus a broad array of devices and platforms. Visit att.com/enhancedptt3 to get your business started with a free Samsung Rugby Pro. You push to talk, we pushed it further. AT&T, rethink possible.
Limited time offer. Free phone on new activations only. Requires 2-year commitment to eligible voice and data plans plus activation of AT&T Enhanced Push to Talk service.
Only the Home Depot has Kiddo worry-free smoke alarms from just $24.97. A sealed lithium battery keeps these alarms working for 10 years so you never change batteries. With 4 models for specific rooms in your home, like a lighted hallway alarm or voice alert bedroom alarm, upgrade your smoke alarms and set your worries aside for 10 years. Kiddo worry-free smoke alarms starting at just $24.97. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. U.S. only. See store for details.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
Pick up your copy of Lady Lake Magazine featuring local businesses and issues and written by local volunteers. Lady Lake Magazine has become a must-read in Marion, Lake, and Sumter counties, audited by Circulation Verification Council and serving the area for 23 years. Plus, Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. All we ask is that you tell them where you heard about them. Call Tom's Picks at 352-804-1223 and pick up your copy of Lady Lake Magazine today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Compton, inviting you to join us on the Voice of Ocala to discuss a painful subject, pain, not a one-size-fits-all pain, because pain is very personal and comes in all forms. That's why we need to talk about where you're hurting, and we can find out why. Then I can recommend ways to help deal with it, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, the psychological pain of loss, or the pain of physical injury. And when we define your pain, we can begin looking for ways to treat it. Did you know that a lack of vitamin C can cause severely excruciating pain? So listen to my new show, Dr. Terry, on the first Friday of each month, live from Gateway Bank at 3:30. We're all in this together. There's a better way of living. Let me help you find it on the Dr. Terry Show.
Tune in and join Dr. Terry the first Friday of each month right here on The Source. Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 6 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice looking Thursday. Look at that. Boy, looks nice out there, right?
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
Look on the Weather Channel, though, and see how the rest of the country's doing.
Yes,
we're doing,
snow.
We're doing, I miss the snow, but I look at some of the stuff that they're going through, and I think, you know what? I'm okay. It's not too bad here. Our Supreme Court, the U.S. Supreme Court, is, among other things, this year debating, again, as always, tackling some tough topics. One of them is gay marriage. Same-sex marriage is what they call it, right? Same-sex marriage? We've gone back and forth with this a lot. People who are who declare themselves as gay, call themselves gay, or are gay. I don't want to say something to offend anybody, but they will often call up whenever I've expressed anything that sounded like it was being anti-gay. I've never really been anti-gay. Just that the whole idea that the government has anything to do with marriage at all is always amused me, or it's been confusing to me. But it is. It's in the government's hands. It's in the Supreme Court's hands, and there's a lot of people defending it. We have on the phone Sharif Gergis. He's a student in philosophy at Princeton University. He is a J.D. Juris Doctor candidate at Yale Law School. I hope I have this right. A Rhodes Scholar from the University of Oxford, and he's written a book. It's called What is Marriage? Man and Woman, a Defense. This might be the first time I've ever heard anybody defending what we would consider traditional marriage, who has the legal background to do so. I've heard a lot of theologians defending it, and of course us radio people are defending it a lot. And it's not necessarily chastising somebody's choice of a lifestyle. It's just the whole idea of what a marriage is and should be. Sharif Gergis, good morning. Thank you for being on the air with us today.
Good morning, Larry. Thanks for having me.
And where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Rochester, from one of those tougher weather spots in the country. In fact, I drove through that storm last night at about 35 miles per hour for 12 hours.
Wow.
Oh, no.
So, I know all about it. But I can picture the sunshine outside your window. That was comforting.
It is beautiful. And we got some cold weather, and that's okay.
Okay.
And actually, I wouldn't mind a little bit of snow. It's it's always better on the other side of it, right?
That's right.
So, why did you decide to tackle the gay marriage issue?
Sure. Well, I saw that, and my co-authors saw that the debate was really just very poor quality. It was all proceeding by stigmatization and marginalization and intimidation. And I thought, you know what, there are actually reasons. You know, there are reasonable people on both sides of this debate, and there are reasons on the traditional side that aren't being aired. And that's what we set out to try to explain. So from a non-religious point of view, and again, without condemning or denigrating anybody, without even addressing the very even hotter topic of the morality of same-sex relationships. We're just talking about what marriage is, why the state's involved in the first place, and why, in light of all of that, it makes sense to keep marriage to a man and a woman.
Okay, so can I ask you that? One of the questions you just brought up, why is the state, the government involved at all? Why isn't this just between two people and their church?
Sure. Well, I think, for centuries, really, here's a really interesting fact from history. In basically every society that has left us a trace of itself has had to socially regulate the sexual relationships of men and women. In other words, has had to have something like a public institution of marriage. And I think the reason for that is pretty clear. These relationships produce really highly dependent human beings called children who need, on average, in the long run, benefit most from the love and commitment of their own mother and father for many years. And that kind of thing, especially fathers staying around, doesn't happen naturally. It requires social support and accommodation of various kinds. And so, every society in some form or other has publicly supported norms of marriage that try to keep marriages stable for children. And here's the thing. I think actually there's a good libertarian case to be made for marriage and for traditional marriage in particular. And that is that the worse the family does, the more the correctional and welfare bureaucracy grows.
I'm with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because basically, it's the best department of health and welfare and formation and education. You name it. That's the family, and so the state can play a kind of secondary role in supporting that at the front end, rather than having to pick up the pieces of a shattered marriage culture.
Okay. Well, you are obviously a good attorney. You're making some good points. I wanted to point out something. I don't know if you're familiar. In the state of Florida, this morning, there was a story about our Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court. They have a case of two lesbian women, who have had a child. One of the women donated the egg to the other woman who carried the baby. I don't know who the sperm donor was, Robin, and I think it might have been David Crosby.
That's right.
That's just a joke. It's just a joke. But the point is, we don't know who the father is, but we know that both mothers have a vested interest in the child from an emotional point of view and even from a physical point of view, because one produced the egg, one carried the baby, and I don't know if there was a physical reason for that or whatever. But now the two ladies are divorcing. I don't know if they were legally married, but now, and they each want the child, and so they want the Supreme Court to decide it for them. My statement was, if I was in the Supreme Court, I would ask those two ladies, what the heck, you can't figure this out yourself?
Yeah.
Wasn't there a story in the Bible of the king that wanted to just cut the baby in half?
Yeah, Solomon.
Right? Was that the Solomon story?
Yeah.
And the point is, you don't want the baby cut in half, figuratively or physically, obviously.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I think this highlights something, which is that traditionally, the state has played a role in parenting, but it's been primarily by presumptions, by presuming the paternity of the child belongs to the husband. And that's another thing that the institution of marriage did. And the more this kind of thing breaks down, and the more in particular that we see the family as just whatever we make it by sheer choice, the more the state is going to have to come in. There was a case recently of the state having to determine whether a girl could wear a particular prom dress, because it came down to that kind of dispute, and somehow that got involved in the divorce proceedings. And so I think, again, this is another area where the state does the least and does the best by supporting the norms of marriage, permanence and exclusivity and monogamy socially, through the institution, through the motivations to enter it, through the accommodations that it provides once people have entered it.
And parents should be treated as equals, because now I think it's finally starting to come around after all these centuries where women are not the moms are not the best choice for the children, because women leave and they make it bad and things for the children, just like fathers are perceived to. And now it's finally coming around where, yeah, fathers love their children and they should be there 100% of the time as well. And I think that's another thing that your book is doing.
Absolutely. And here's an interesting thing about this. Until the same-sex marriage debate really flared up, social scientists were starting to reach that rare thing among themselves, which is a consensus on the fact that fathers matter too, that moms and dads are not simply interchangeable, that you see different results and different losses for the child when one parent is gone versus the other. And in particular, for boys, for example, crime rates will be higher. For daughters, out of wedlock births will rise, and so on. Mm-hmm. And that was a consensus up until, or it was an emerging consensus up until this debate came up, and it became taboo to say that the sexes aren't simply interchangeable for parenting. So it makes it harder. This is one of the, people say, well, what's the harm? Here's just one thing. I mean, the more we publicly promote this redefined vision of marriage as simply a kind of romantic domestic partnership, a genderless thing, the harder it'll be for us to promote in public, to support in practice the norm that dads have to stay with their moms and kids.
So
because
is the child, is the potential children of a gay couple the strongest argument against gay marriage? In other words, if two gay people decided to get married and said, you know what, I can't, we're two men, we can't do it, there's nothing we can do about this, we're never going to have children, so let us get married. I mean, if there was a guarantee that there would be no children, would the argument lose its strength?
I see. Well, I think it's actually a little bit, there's a little bit more to it than that, because when you promote a new definition of marriage, over time, especially through the education curriculum, especially for future generations, people are going to internalize it. And what's the new message they're internalizing? Well, just take a simple example. What's the difference between two brothers living together because neither of them ever got married, and two men who are in love and have the state ratify the relationship?
Yeah, right.
The main difference is an emotional union. And so that's the message we'll be sending with this new marriage law, that marriage is mainly about a certain kind of emotional union and priority. Now, obviously, emotional union has great personal significance, but there's no reason in principle that it has to be permanently pledged instead of, quote, until love lasts. There's no reason it has to involve two people. Three people could have an emotional union. There's no reason it has to have any kind of particular connection to family life. It's much more a matter of taste. And I think that's actually a message that everybody will internalize to some extent. And we saw this with no-fault divorce. Everybody thought at the beginning of that, well, this is just a win-win for everybody because nobody's going to get one unless they really need one, and if they need one, then they're not happy anyway. But what we saw over time, and here again the social sciences borne out, it took a generation, but it has, is that it changed what everybody thought they were getting into just a little bit. And so now people got in with a much more conditional commitment because they knew this thing was out there. So it didn't just change it for the people who, quote-unquote, needed it the most. It changed the vision of marriage and the practice of marriage for everybody.
I like the word that you use, commitment, because now it's so easy because you hear it in the news all the time. You hear about single parent adoptions. Women aren't married, but they want to have a baby, so they adopt. Michael Jackson is a good example of this because, whatever circumstances, he hired women to have their babies, and then the women disappeared from view, and he was the single parent. But that word commitment, that really hits home, and it plays an important role.
Very important role.
I think that's absolutely right. And again, if it's to be anything more than, here's another thing. If you see marriage as emotional union, you see it mainly as a source or instrument of personal satisfaction, of a kind of emotional satisfaction of the partners. And that's why we talk about things like, oh, the marriage broke down, as if it was just something that happened to them, the feeling went away, and there's nothing they can do at that point, and so on. So I think even the very idea that the commitment is worth working for, even when the feeling has gone, is one of the things at stake here.
Wow, that's a good. Wow, so you are a good attorney. I wanted to ask something about the way the Supreme Court does what it's supposed to do. In the normal courtroom where there's a jury, we're told, and we're supposed to have a jury where the people have they're totally open-minded. They haven't made up their mind at all, and now they're going to listen to evidence and testimony from both sides and make a decision. The Supreme Court, it often seems, is already it's already predictable how they're going to vote, as if they don't have a closed mind when an open mind when it comes to this. So if you, for example, if you were able to take the case that you're presenting in your book, which for those just tuning in is called What is Marriage, if you were to go to the Supreme Court and stand before them and make this case, would you have any chance of persuading any of them to change their mind? Or are they already kind of, is it just a matter of time to wait for them, or are they actually pondering it and open to changing their mind?
Well, I think you're definitely right that they are political actors as much as any other branch of government, and we've seen that with some previous cases. I think that, the general consensus seems to be that you've got 4 votes to defend traditional marriage, or at least to allow the people to decide it, which is really what's at issue here. It's not any particular vision of marriage. And then you've got 4 votes to really impose this revisionist view of marriage on the people. And you've got Justice Kennedy in the middle. Nobody knows what he's going to do. And I think it'll actually make a difference to him whether he thinks there's actually reasonable people of goodwill on the other side of this issue. Because if he doesn't, then he sees this as his Brown v. Board of Education, and this is just equal rights, and he's going to be a hero for this vision. And if he thinks there's a real case on the other side, then he's going to be afraid of another Roe v. Wade, which was a case that produced a backlash that fueled the pro-life movement in this country for now 40 years, and we see the pro-life movement winning now. I think that's a message that the people are going to send him or not send him between now and June when this case is decided, and that's why I think it's that's part of what we're trying to do with What is Marriage, the book. We're trying to get people to start making the arguments and articulating and defending the views that they have already instincts on, but that they're kind of, unfortunately, they're silenced from voicing.
Sharif Gargis is on the phone with us. He is the author of a book called What is Marriage. He's also an attorney and a student of philosophy. He's up in snowy Rochester. You said Rochester, right?
That's right.
Oh, okay. And we do the show live, Sharif, so that means our listeners often play a role. Let's take a call or two. Thank you for being patient with us. Good morning. You're on the air with Sharif.
Good morning, Sharif. Besides the legal ramifications, there are a lot of states, which I believe this should be strictly a state's matter, that don't even recognize common law marriage. Never mind what's coming before the Supreme Court. Number one, I think the Supreme Court should just turn around and say this is not a point of law, it's a point of whatever, and wash their hands of it and turn it back to the state courts. I mean, when do the states lose all their rights is what I'd like to know. And I'll listen to your comments on that.
Sure. Well, I think you're right that traditionally this has been a state's issue. Some people have used that as an argument against the Federal Defense of Marriage Act, which is the law that says that for federal programs, marriage is a union of a man and a woman. I don't think that part of the argument works, just because that only speaks to federal programs, and certainly the federal government has a right to say where its money does and doesn't get spent. But you're right that traditionally the actual definitions of marriage, the eligibility requirements and so on, are a state issue. We've always seen this as one of the things that the laboratories of democracy are best at handling, and that's exactly what the court would be usurping the authority from if they decided that that they found a constitutional right to same-sex marriage. And let me just say one thing about that. The main way they'll do it, if they do find such a right, is by appealing to equality, the Equal Protection Clause. But the fact is that equality does not get you 1 inch towards an answer to this policy issue. Because what's at stake is not whether to expand or restrict the pool of people eligible to marry. If that were the issue, then of course, yeah, equality says everybody should be allowed to. The real question is not who can marry, but first of all, and prior to that, what marriage is. If it's this kind of emotional union, then yes, equality requires recognizing any emotional union. And I would argue, actually, if it requires recognizing a 2-person emotional commitment, it requires recognizing a 3-person. But if marriage isn't that, if marriage is this kind of, institution, a union of mind and body for the whole of life that the state's interested in it precisely to get men and women together as mother and father, then actually it's already being recognized on an equal basis. And so you can't even answer that question without answering the prior issue that I think you're right is left in our constitutional system to the states.
The one thing I've wondered about is what would actually change if the Supreme Court said, yeah, we're going to make it legal in America. And I have an answer, and this gives me an opportunity to take the devil's advocate side a little bit.
Sure.
I think if I'm trying to think it through before I say it, but anyway, let me just say it, and then I'll tell you how I feel about it. I think we had somebody on the show one time who was a gay man, and he was arguing that he couldn't go see his partner in the hospital because he wasn't his wife.
Yeah, they were in the studio.
Was it here in the studio?
The couple, yes.
Okay. And
photographers
and that was his argument, is that if they would allow it to be legal, then I could be then I would be recognized by the hospital as the spouse, and I could go visit this guy I love. And I thought, well, yeah, I kind of see it your way now. And so is there a way? I mean, is there a way to say, okay, here's the rules, but you can still visit your friend? I don't understand that part. So
yeah. I actually agree with both of you. I think there's definitely a strong case to be made in justice and compassion and fairness to allow people to have certain of those legal incidents. Now, here's the thing: I don't think there's any reason to limit it to sexual relationships. So I have, my mom's brother and sister, my aunt and uncle, neither of them has ever gotten married. They've never stopped living together from when they were kids. They support each other. They have that common stock of memories and sympathies that comes from sharing a home. I think they should have exactly the same rights that we're talking about here. So that once we create legal remedies for that don't depend on whether there's a sexual relationship, then we're no longer in the field of redefining marriage.
Oh, that's a really good argument.
Yeah, now we're just giving people on a very common sense basis, which is whether they've shared a home together.
That was very good. I really in other words, there's no it's illegal for a brother and a sister to marry.
That's right, yeah, and nobody thinks that it should become legal, even though I think if you think about it, if they've shared a home the same way, they should also get to visit each other in the hospital.
Right. Oh, wow, that was a great argument. I love listening to attorneys who are skilled at this.
And common sense.
Sharif Gerges is our guest. Let's take another phone call. His book, by the way, is called What is Marriage? Man and Woman, a Defense. I like that. Almost sounds like a title of a movie. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, it's Sonny calling back. If you're talking about either two people, one wants to visit the other in the hospital, couldn't they, if they're really that committed, whether it's a man and woman or two same-sex couples or whatever, if they had legal co-guardianship of each other, wouldn't that preclude the marriage agreement? Now hang up and listen again, sir. Thank you.
That's a good question, yeah.
Thank you. So that is one avenue to get a lot of these benefits. Now, one problem with that in a lot of people's vision is really that it's kind of asymmetrical, and that itself signals the wrong thing about the kind of relationship they have. But another avenue in many jurisdictions, in most jurisdictions, is power of attorney, which can give you a lot of the same rights. Now, there are some things that you might want to be able to compel third parties to allow, and then hospital visitation might be an example of that, because even a private contract between you, can't reach out to those third parties. But again, there are legal remedies for that really wouldn't involve, would completely sidestep this debate, and I think would actually be more perfectly tailored to the needs on the ground, because they wouldn't, again, be discriminating between sexual and non-sexual relationships.
Sharif, I have a way out-of-the-box idea, and it might just be so dopey that everybody would just discard it. But let's say I'm on the Supreme Court, and I say, hey, I got this wacky idea. What if we called it something else instead of marriage? What if we called it something else and still made it legal and still made it possible for all the insurance things and all the other things that go with marriage? property ownership and all that other stuff, and including divorce, by the way, the bad stuff that comes with marriage too. But we just called it something else. We called it, I don't know, some word we make up. Would that change things, or?
I think it would begin to, because we'd start to rediscover this idea that there is a certain kind of relationship with a certain set of norms that make sense for that relationship called marriage, and then there are other kinds of connections between people. So that's a good start. Again, a second thing I think that would be important is not limiting it to sexual relationships, because it's hard to think of a basis for doing so. But really, there are a couple questions to ask, I think. I mean, so one, what is the public good that this particular law is serving, and is it one that we can serve in ways that don't at least risk diluting the social status and kind of specific contours of marriage? Now, there might be a case for that. You might be in a jurisdiction, even if you had power of attorney and so on, where because of socioeconomic difficulties or educational blocks, people don't often take advantage of those things, and so they end up being hurt in the long run. So that would be a case. But again, once we start to see the range of questions that brings up, I think it starts to look a lot more like a legislative issue and less like the kind of thing that justices, simply applying the law, could enact.
And there's that emotional factor that's involved. I mean, right now, at least in our communities, high schools, they have parenting classes for the high schoolers. You have to carry this baby around with you and tend to their needs and everything to try to dissuade teenage pregnancies. So they're doing that part of it for the emotional wise for those students. How would you be able to help the same-sex couple feed their emotional needs?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think this brings up a question, which is, we should step back from the marriage debate for a second and think about how remarkable it is that the state is involved in such an intimate relationship in the first place, right?
Right.
I mean, I think that's part of the point that Larry had at the beginning. And, it's involved in business relationships, but much less in best friendships. But marriage is different, and I think the reason marriage is different is this connection to kids and making sure kids grow up with their own mom and dad. And we in What is Marriage, we discuss the social science on this and so on. But once you get away from that, and you just have the state picking and choosing which kinds of emotional relationships to single out or not, I think that starts looking a lot stranger. Outside of marriage, there are practical needs that need to be met, but I don't know that the state should be in the business of privileging or deprivileging emotional relationships just as such.
What a wonderful debate, and we just went out of time too quickly. The book is called What is Marriage? Man and Woman, a Defense. It is written by our guest, Sharif Gurgis. Sharif, do you have a website we can go to look up the book?
We do, actually. It's called whatismarriagebook.com.
Whatismarriagebook.com. Okay, excellent. I'm guessing it's on the other websites and in bookstores in general?
It is, yep. Amazon.com is the easiest place, and it's about $10 right now.
Okay, and is it an ebook also?
I'm sorry?
Is it an ebook?
It is. Kindle, iBook, Nook, whatever.
Well, good. Keep up what you're doing, and I hope you get to go on some of the talk shows that are heard nationally. I mean, one little station at a time is a good way to do it, and I appreciate the fact that you came on, but I think this is something that needs to trickle up or down, whatever you want to look at it, to the Supreme Court, because maybe they are really open-minded. Who knows? But maybe they need to hear some more strong arguments that they're just not. Maybe they've already made their mind up. Who knows? I guess we'll never know.
We'll find out in June.
Sharif, do you have a snowblower or a shovel? What do you got?
Both.
Oh, good. Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Well, go have fun with it. You don't get to use it very often, so.
That's right.
There you go.
And do you have children? Not to get too personal, right?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Well, I was just going to say they would enjoy this now.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for being on there. Good.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Obviously a good attorney. I love the way you crafted your arguments. We will take a little break and be right back.
Don't get caught without your daily source of senior deals. Pick up your copy of the Senior Voice newspaper. It's your source for schedule and events tailored to seniors, with information you need, like a list of free events in the area. We even have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company to you that fits your needs, and all we ask in return is that you tell them where you heard about them. For more information, call Tom's Picks, 352-804-1223. and pick up your copy of the Senior's Voice at most any business up and down the 200 corridor.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
Great news, everyone. The world didn't come to an end. And frankly, I kind of had my doubts. Nobody's more excited about that news than the folks at Ford Lincoln of Ocala. This means they can now resume with their year-end celebration by hosting a 100-hour sales event. I'm here to tell you there's never been a better time to enjoy a new Ford and take advantage of year-end savings on the best-selling vehicles in America, backed by Ford Lincoln of Ocala's low price guarantee. Let's face it, the holidays mean different things to different people. But a new Ford in your driveway, that means you're having a great holiday. If it's a new truck you're after, Ford Lincoln of Ocala still has a great selection of remaining 2012 built Ford Tough trucks with a total savings of up to $10,000 off MSRP. The clock's ticking. Get to Ford Lincoln of Ocala and let's celebrate together before the real deadline arrives on their 100-hour sales event going on, well, for 100 hours. Or point and click your way to savings at FordOfOcala.com.
Let's celebrate.
What's up, Ocala?
This is Joel.
And Amanda.
With What's Up Ocala Magazine and Media.
We want to invite you to come see Ocala's top fashion designers.
And models.
The New Year's Kickoff Business Expo begins at 1:30 with a never-to-forget fashion show following at 6 p.m. What's Up Ocala will have food, live music, and vendors showcasing their new products for 2013.
Categories of fashion include dress to impress, equine, business casual, a weekend away, local designer showcases from game day dresses, and the Tutu Factory. We will be ending the show with a complete bridal transformation. This is the largest fashion show Ocala has ever seen, emceed by the one and only Kelly Hart, with performances by local and national bands.
Sponsorships and vendor booths are still available. Be sure to attend this free event and stay connected to our updates by visiting our Facebook page or downloading the What's Up app from the App Store and Android Market. It's free.
The 2013 Ocala's Choice Awards will be presented at the show. This is an event you don't want to miss.
What's up, Ocala?
This is Wendy and Will of Dex Imaging. By now, you might be tired of hearing us talk about Dex. So instead of us telling you how much Dex can save you on your copier costs and how we can help your office be more efficient, we thought we'd let Judy tell you.
Hi, I'm Judy, the office manager of Graper Facial Institute here in Gainesville. We operate 8 medical offices, so I was looking for a document management system that would copy, scan, print, and share documents among all of our locations, but something that was within our budget. Dex Imaging recommended a Kyocera with their Index solution. It's been amazing. This machine does everything we need it to, including a direct scan into our current electronic medical record software. Dex even trained us on how to use it. Dex has been a tremendous help in making our practice and my job more efficient.
Thanks, Judy. And remember, call Dex Imaging today for a free workflow analysis to find out how you can save 20 to 30% on your copying and document management needs, just like Graper Facial Institute. Dex Imaging, 352-224-1816. That's 224-1816.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Compton, inviting you to join us on the Voice of Ocala to discuss a painful subject, pain, not a one-size-fits-all pain, because pain is very personal and comes in all forms. That's why we need to talk about where you're hurting, and we can find out why. Then I can recommend ways to help deal with it, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, the psychological pain of loss, or the pain of physical injury. And when we define your pain, we can begin looking for ways to treat it. Did you know that a lack of vitamin C can cause severely excruciating pain? So listen to my new show, Dr. Terry, on the first Friday of each month, live from Gateway Bank at 3:30. We're all in this together. There's a better way of living. Let me help you find it on the Dr. Terry Show.
Tune in and join Dr. Terry the first Friday of each month right here on The Source.
In Clark, we trust.
Hi, this is Clark Howard. I'm so excited to be on in Ocala, where I visit twice a year because I have relatives in Ocala, and it's great that my show is on every evening at 6 p.m. right here on WOCA, The Source.
Good talk, great conversation. WOCA, News Talk 1370.
WOCA.
You're listening to WOCA News Talk 1370, Ocala's source for what's happening in today's hottest, up-to-date news and topics.
Thank you very much, Mr. Relatively Deep Voice Man. It's 22 minutes before 11 o'clock. Nice looking Thursday. As you look at the Weather Channel on TV, you realize that we're pretty lucky.
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy that it's chilly because I kind of like it chilly this time of year. And then after New Year's, I'm saying, okay, put the heat back on. So we're in that never land portion of the year where between Christmas and New Year's where we just have this little bit of a lull, a little bit of a stress-free moment here, and also time for us to review. I've got a list of things that made big news locally. I think the biggest local news story has to have been the sheriff's race.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the biggest story. But right now we'll talk about some of the other things, and then I'll bring that up probably, well, tomorrow's Friday, so I guess tomorrow's the day.
Yeah.
For the local news. I save it all in the computer, so it's all in there.
Oh, good.
Former President George H.W. Bush is in intensive care right now at a Houston hospital. They are considering him to be in guarded condition. He's 88 years old. He was admitted to the hospital on the 23rd of November for bronchitis. He's been in there ever since, and I guess he's been having his ups and downs. They say a series of setbacks, including a persistent fever, has been keeping him in a guarded, I guess, by the doctors. Doctors had Methodist. The church is called Methodist. Oh, I can't remember. Where's the name of the church? I mean the hospital, yeah, not church. But anyway, Methodist Hospital. Yeah, it's called Methodist Hospital. A spokesman there said that the former president was expected to be home in time for Christmas, before Christmas, but that spokesman later said that doctors felt he should build up his strength before returning home. So, anyway, our prayers are with him. I didn't know him at all, not personally.
No.
We got to meet Jeb when he was the governor.
Yes.
And that's it, right?
Yeah, and we heard Barbara with her story time. She had that story time for children.
And we knew the other brother, the one who's not in politics, right? I can't remember his name. We didn't know him really well. I don't want to make anybody think we knew him, but
no.
Anyway, when you know somebody like that who seems bigger than life, and you get to meet them like in the real world, all of a sudden you realize that these are real people.
Yeah.
You know. And then there was this other story I wanted to share with everybody about this. Let's see, a decision made in Russia that Americans will no longer be able to adopt Russian babies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, why is that?
Well, I'll read the story to you.
Okay.
It's a story from CNN. Russian anti-U.S. adoption bill advances, and now Putin has to sign it in order for it to be a law. I guess what they're trying to say is we want to take care of our own, and who could blame them? That's what they should want. Right. Russia's upper house of parliament has approved a controversial measure banning adoption of Russian children by U.S. families. The legislation now goes to President Vladimir Putin to be signed into law. That, according to the news agency RIA Novosti. Is that how you say it?
I don't know.
The legislation could affect hundreds of American families seeking to adopt. Americans adopted close to 1,000 Russian children last year, according to U.S. State Department figures. Though the number has been dropping in recent years, Russia remains the third most popular country for U.S. citizens to adopt after China and Ethiopia. I'll never understand this. Do we not have enough children in this country that need to be adopted?
Maybe there are too many rules here. Maybe the rules are different here than overseas.
That could be it too.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what they're saying. Maybe they are saying, can't we adopt our own children?
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't something that... it sounds like a lot of people are upset with this, although, the word I was looking for yesterday is sovereign.
Yes.
We are a sovereign nation, and we're okay with them being a sovereign nation.
Yeah.
And why not? We shouldn't really have anything to say about their decision to not allow Americans to adopt their children. I think if that's their decision, why would we oppose to that?
Exactly.
The U.S. ambassador to Russia is Michael McFaul. He tweeted that passage of the bill saddens him, but said he's open to dialogue. The bill also bars any political activities by non-governmental organizations receiving funding from the United States.
Gosh.
if such activities could affect Russian interests. The legislation also imposes sanctions against U.S. officials thought to have violated human rights.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the couples in the United States that adopt children, that's why they're going to Ethiopia and China and Russia, because they want to adopt babies, babies, and there are a lot of children in the United States with special needs. There are older children that need to be adopted, but the Americans want to adopt babies and not older children and not children with special needs. So that's probably why the Americans, prospective parents, go overseas to adopt, because they know they can get babies.
The move by Russian politicians that we're talking about is seen as retaliation for a law that U.S. President Barack Obama signed on December 14th.
Oh.
That bill, called the Magnitsky Act, imposes U.S. travel and financial restrictions on human rights abusers in Russia. Well, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
It imposes U.S. travel and financial restrictions on human rights abusers in Russia. Well, gosh.
Well, yeah.
How could they be? They don't like that. The United States is concerned. This is a quote from the U.S. State Department spokesman Patrick Ventrell. He said, quote, "The United States is concerned by measures in the bill passed in the Russian Duma today. If it becomes law, would halt inter-country adoptions between the United States and Russia and would restrict the ability of Russian civil society organizations to work with American partners." The Magnitsky Act is named in honor of Russian lawyer Sergei Magnitsky, who uncovered the largest tax fraud in the country's history in the form of rebates claimed by government officials who stole money from the state. Magnitsky died in 2009 after a year in Moscow detention. Apparently he was beaten to death.
Oh, my God.
The Russian bill's implementation would nullify a recent agreement between the United States and Russia in which the countries agreed to additional safeguards to protect children and parties involved in inter-country adoptions.
Yeah, because it wasn't, adoptions weren't being handled through the government per se. It was private entities in the U.S. and private entities over there, and then they had to have some kind of yes by the government to transport the children out of Russia to here.
But there were government agencies on both sides, especially there. American families have welcomed more than 60,000 Russian children into American homes over the past 20 years.
Wow.
Just last month, they implemented a bilateral adoptions agreement with Russia to improve safeguards for adopted children and their families. If Russian officials have concerns about the implementations of this agreement, he says, we stand ready to work with them to improve it and remain committed to supporting inter-country adoptions between our two countries. I guess it's all up to Putin now.
I guess so.
I guess he's the last guy to say yes or no. And if he says yes, it's in. No, he's not. No, it's not.
And we have spoken to a couple of authors quite recently, especially the female author, that she adopted her daughter from Russia, and she would go over there with her daughter a couple of times a year just so her daughter would still be able to experience the culture.
And it was a very sweet story. But I remember when we were off the air, you and I, to each other, said, I wonder why she couldn't adopt a child here. I mean, why couldn't she go to DeLand or Orlando or Dunellen? I mean, there's got to be children right here that need to be adopted. And I'm not picking on anybody who's gone anywhere else to adopt a child. I mean, chances are, if you have adopted a child from a country, that child probably has a better life now.
Yeah.
I would imagine. The very fact that you had the wherewithal and the finances to make the trip just in the first place, just to go and see the children, probably indicates that you probably have enough going for you to make life better for that child.
And it's not cheap. It's, tens of thousands of dollars to take care of it.
The UN Children's Fund Executive Director is Anthony Lake. He touted the importance of inter-country adoption, so the UN's not very happy with this either. He said, while welcoming Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev's call for the improvement of the child welfare system, UNICEF urges that the current plight of the many Russian children in institution receives priority attention. UNICEF asked that Russia let children's best interests guide the design and development of all efforts to protect children, including adoption. Which I guess, I don't know if that would mean that they want Americans to continue to be able to adopt children or not. From Russia. We encourage the government to establish a robust national social protection plan to help strengthen Russian families. Alternatives to the institutionalization of children are essential, including permanent foster care, domestic adoption, and inter-country adoption. So I guess they are in favor of the United States continuing to be able to adopt children from Russia.
Well, hopefully this is going to open up some of the eyes of the Americans that are looking to adopt overseas and look within our own country first to see, for them to adopt here, to give the already United States citizens, babies and young children a chance to have a home outside of having a foster home in the United States.
In the comments under the article, which I'm reading off the internet, and in this day and age you can leave comments, and people do, the first comment is, maybe it's time for Americans to adopt American orphans.
Ah.
Yeah.
There you go. Good comment.
Well, anyway, so that's the way of the world. They're trying to make a decision, I guess, right now in Russia. I almost called it the Soviet Union again. They do that all the time. Groups such as Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch had urged lawmakers to reject the bill. The bill hits back at Russia's most vulnerable children and could deprive them of loving families they need, as a statement from Hugh Williamson, Europe and Central Asia Director at Human Rights Watch. Well, again, this is their country, and they should be sovereign as we want to be sovereign. And Russia is, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about the decision by Russian officials to put an end to American adoptions, U.S. adoptions of children. I wonder if that would apply to other countries. I wonder if it's specifically U.S. In other words, would a Canadian family be able to adopt a Russian child?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
Or a British family, or a French family.
Yeah, maybe they should. Maybe the verbiage is non-Russian.
No, it's what I read. What I read is it's strictly aimed at America.
Oh, okay.
People just like to pick on us. That's what it is.
Yeah, they do. That's why we should never back down from anything.
Don't back down. It's a Tom Petty song.
That's right.
All right, we're going to take a little break, and we've got some more of the debatable stories of 2012 that we started yesterday.
Nice.
And we'll talk about some of them when we come back. Deal?
Deal.
Every day we hear another story about innovation or about cutting-edge technology taking place right here in Ocala. The power plant, IHMC, Ocala 489. Did you know that important medical research is also being conducted here that may impact hundreds of thousands of people in the country someday? Maybe you've heard the name Renstar, but like so many others, perhaps you didn't realize that Renstar Medical Research is one of the top facilities of its kind anywhere in the U.S. There are important research studies being conducted by a highly qualified team of medical experts at Renstar, impacting decisions of major pharmaceutical companies and bringing new drugs to market. And you can be a part of these studies, as so many local people have done and are currently doing. Renstar has conducted more than 500 studies since its inception and would like to extend the opportunity to you to be a part of these cutting-edge programs. Call 877-629-5800 or 352-629-5800 if you'd like to know more. Renstar Medical Research, locally owned and operated in beautiful downtown Ocala. Renstar, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
They've served our country. They've kept us free. And they need your help.
We're sitting in Veterans Park. You can't sit here not realizing that you're surrounded by heroes. There are a lot of heroes in our community. A lot of heroes, unfortunately, are not in good financial shape. They're hurting both physically and financially. We step in and help directly. Our role is to reach out to them. We're there to help the veteran. We do counseling. We do outreach. Sometimes it's just coming into the office and sitting down and saying, hey, I've got a problem, and you're talking to another veteran who understands that problem.
Everybody who works for. The Vets Helping Vets are awesome, and they are so kind to everybody. They're like my second family. They really are.
They have been there during the holidays. I have gotten unexpected visits, assistance.
Vets Helping Vets of Marion County needs your help. Call today, 352-433-2320, and pledge your support to Vets Helping Vets of Marion County.
It really has been a blessing.
Don't miss the Festival of Lights at Silver Springs, with more than 1 million twinkling lights and one holiday delight after another. Experience real snow on the Snow Toboggan Express. Warm up to Miss Molly's spellbinding stories. Catch the Victorian sounds of the Dickens carolers. And listen for the reindeer bells announcing the arrival of Santa Claus and his Silver River sleigh. Bring your camera, because Santa makes time for photo ops with the kids from 5 to 8 p.m. Then stay for the fantastic fireworks finale. The Festival of Lights is yours with an all-access Platinum Pass for as little as $51.99. Get unlimited admission to Silver Springs for a full year, including live concerts, special events, and VIP seating. All for $51.99. The Festival of Lights, December 14th through the 31st. For showtimes, visit silversprings.com.
Great news, everyone. The world didn't come to an end. And frankly, I kind of had my doubts. Nobody's more excited about that news than the folks at Ford Lincoln of Ocala. This means they can now resume with their year-end celebration by hosting a 100-hour sales event. I'm here to tell you there's never been a better time to enjoy a new Ford and take advantage of year-end savings on the best-selling vehicles in America, backed by Ford Lincoln of Ocala's low price guarantee. Let's face it, the holidays mean different things to different people. But a new Ford in your driveway, that means you're having a great holiday. If it's a new truck you're after, Ford Lincoln of Ocala still has a great selection of remaining 2012 built Ford Tough trucks with a total savings of up to $10,000 off MSRP. The clock's ticking. Get to Ford Lincoln of Ocala and let's celebrate together before the real deadline arrives on their 100-hour sales event going on, well, for 100 hours. Or point and click your way to savings at FordofOcala.com.
Let's celebrate.
What's up, Ocala?
This is Joel.
And Amanda.
With What's Up Ocala Magazine and Media.
We want to invite you to come see Ocala's top fashion designers.
And models.
The New Year's Kickoff Business Expo begins at 1:30 with a never-to-forget fashion show following at 6 p.m. What's Up Ocala will have food, live music, and vendors showcasing their new products for 2013.
Categories of fashion include dress to impress, equine, business casual, a weekend away, local designer showcases from game day dresses, and the Tutu Factory. We will be ending the show with a complete bridal transformation. This is the largest fashion show Ocala has ever seen, emceed by the one and only Kelly Hart, with performances by local and national bands.
Sponsorships and vendor booths are still available. Be sure to attend this free event and stay connected to our updates by visiting our Facebook page or downloading the What's Up app from the App Store and Android Market. It's free.
The 2013 Ocala's Choice Awards will be presented at the show. This is an event you don't want to miss.
What's up, Ocala?
All right, 5 minutes before 11 o'clock. A couple things I wanted to make sure I mentioned. I think this first thing I'm going to tell you about was something that that Tom Schmitz broke yesterday. Not that it's news, it's just an announcement. The Fezziwig Ball that we were talking about yesterday was canceled.
Oh.
And if you have tickets for the Fezziwig, it was scheduled for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
If you have tickets, you can get your refund from Jezebel's down on Southeast First Avenue. Was that a clothing store, Robin? Jezebel?
Yes.
Jezebel's? The Fezziwig's Ball, according to the article in the Star Banner, was a formal dance idea. It was in the spirit of A Christmas Carol. It has been canceled. The event had been scheduled for tonight. It was going to be at the Ocala National Bank building as part of the holiday activities planned by the Downtown Business Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Tom was talking about it yesterday on Buddy's show. That I guess the reason simply was there was not enough support.
Oh, okay.
For the event. In other words, enough tickets didn't get sold. So if you did purchase a ticket and you need a refund, go down to Jezebel's at 56 Southeast First Avenue, and you can get a refund for the tickets that you purchased. And I think it was just one of those things that nobody was real familiar with. It wasn't enough traction. It needed to get the word out a little bit more, perhaps.
earlier, not like the week of the ball. They should have started a month before.
Well, it's a good idea. It sounds like a fun idea.
Yeah.
And maybe next year it'll happen. That happens sometimes. Things start, and we learn from things. The Silver Springs Lions Club Auto Show probably had its beginnings in a similar rough way, but now it's a blockbuster favorite for a lot of people. The auto show is scheduled for Saturday, a week from Saturday. This will be January 5th, 2013. I just like saying that right now. It'll be from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. This is going to be at the Kmart, simply in the parking lot. They don't do this inside the store. And there will be a disc jockey there, as there always is. There's goodie bags. There's a concession stand. They're giving away prizes, door prizes. There's a 50-50 raffle that they're doing. I think I'm not supposed to call it a raffle. It's a 50-50 drawing.
Yeah.
Where you get half the money if you win. And the Best in Show trophies for those with the cars. The rest of us who just go to see them, it's just fun to go to. If you would like to know more, if you're a car owner, in other words, you might need a phone number. I'll tell you as soon as I find it on here. The pre-registration is too late, so the registration cost now is $20 if you want to put your car into the thing. And $100 will be awarded to the club with the most cars entered.
Cool.
You have to have at least 10 cars, though. Wow. Here's the number. Bob Chadwick is the person you would call. His number is 694-6381. Bob's been with the Lions Club and a good friend and supporter of WOCA for a long time.
Former Marion County Sheriff Deputy.
Sheriff's Deputy, right.
He's retired last year from the deputy.
694-6381. So just remember, a week from Saturday, the Silver Springs Lions Club Auto Show at the Kmart parking lot on East Silver Springs Boulevard. It's the only Kmart left in town, right?
That's right. That's correct.
You
are
right,
correct.
Right?
Yes, yes. There's one in Bellevue, but there's only one in Ocala. And also, they are collecting non-perishable food items for interfaith emergency services. So if anybody that's attending, there is no entrance fee to the show, but everyone's encouraged to bring a non-perishable food item, which the Silver Springs Lions Club will then box up and give to interfaith emergency services, so those less fortunate can eat.
All right, we've got to go to ABC News and get a few and local news and a few other things. And when we come back, I want to tell you the story of Kitty Worthman.
Okay.
Kitty Worthman was a child in Austria when Hitler took over, and she wants to tell you that it was pretty good.
Oh, wow.
But didn't last.
Oh.
Wait till you hear her story. Wait till you hear how Hitler seduced Austria.
Wow.
It's an amazing story. I'll read that to you when we come back. Right now, let's go to the news on ABC.
ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. Snowplows are on the move in the Northeast, where a major winter storm that buried the Midwest is now making travel tricky from Pennsylvania to northern New England. The storm is also packing high winds. The cliffhanger continues in Washington, and your paycheck is hanging in the balance. President Obama and the Senate are returning to Washington today to resume efforts to avoid the 1-2 combination of higher taxes and automatic spending cuts in January. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he sees no reason not to sign a controversial bill banning adoptions to the U.S. It's seen as retaliation against a recent U.S. law calling for sanctions against Russians who commit human rights violations. Mark Zuckerberg's sister Randy called it way uncool when a friend published a private Zuckerberg family Facebook photo on Twitter. Facebook friends have criticized its tricky privacy protection policies. What will Hollywood do for an encore now that 2012 is on record as a record breaker at the box office? Movies pulled in $10.8 billion this year, nearly 6% more than last year. This is ABC News.
Geico says, let's make life simpler.
Look, I'm all for modern conveniences. But ask yourself, do you really need a blender with 23 buttons just to chop an onion? At Geico, we think life should be simpler. So we make it super simple to save on car insurance. Just one click and you could be on your way to saving hundreds. Come on, people. Life doesn't have to be that complicated.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. With one phone call, you'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information. It's a free service, so call now.
800-378-2281. 800-378-2281.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. Mostly sunny today, but cool, high 60 to 64. Clear and cold tonight, lows ranging from 34 in a few inland spots to 43 along the coast. Sunshine mixing with clouds tomorrow and a little milder, high 67 to 71. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a chance for a shower and thunderstorm or two, high 76 to 80. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Here are today's headlines from the source WOCA. A memorial service for Bill McBride, the Florida Democrat who defeated Janet Reno for the party's gubernatorial nomination in 2002 but lost to Republican Governor Jeb Bush, will be held tomorrow in Tampa. The service is scheduled for 1 p.m. at the Palma Sia Presbyterian Church. McBride suffered a fatal heart attack on Saturday while visiting with family in Mount Airy, North Carolina. He was 67 years old. McBride defeated Reno, who was U.S. Attorney General under President Bill Clinton, in the Democratic primary to run against Bush. Before entering politics, he was managing partner at the prestigious Holland & Knight law firm. McBride's wife, Alex Sink, was the Democratic nominee for governor in 2010, losing to now Governor Rick Scott. The couple lived outside of Tampa. Florida may be fourth in the nation when it comes to population, but we're still number one when it comes to sending convicted killers to death row, according to a report from a national nonprofit group that studies the death penalty in America. The Sunshine State sentenced 21 inmates to death in 2012, more than California, more than Pennsylvania, and even more than Texas, which continues to lead in the number of inmates actually executed, according to the Death Penalty Information Center. It's the second straight year in which Florida has held the top spot among the states that have a death penalty, but it still represents a big spike over last year when we sent 13 people to death row. California came in second both years, having sent 10 inmates to death row in 2011 and 14 this year. Of the 33 states that have a death penalty, 24 carried out no executions and 14 sent no new inmates to death row in 2012. Florida carried out 3 executions this year. A newspaper in New York said they wanted to add context to the debate over gun control when they published a list of registered gun owners in the area, but the map of gun owners in Westchester and Rockland counties drew strong reaction on both sides, and some former police officers are calling the move dangerous. Tom Veary is a retired police officer. He was awarded in 1985 after responding to a call where he came upon a man with a hatchet attacking people in a bank. He lunged at the attacker and took him down. The award was given by an earlier version of the Journal newspaper, which is owned by Gannett. He was praised for taking the suspect down without using his gun. Now retired and living in Jacksonville, he plans to give that award back to the Journal News, saying that if the newspaper is going to award police officers during their careers, they should not be putting their lives in danger when their career is over. The Journal News published a map listing the addresses of registered gun owners in the area, including retired police officers. Veary thinks that's dangerous. Speaking to reporters, Veary said, quote, "To treat law-abiding citizens and retired police officers as if they were sex offenders and they're being outed in their own neighborhood, that is a little bit scary," unquote. They typically winter no farther south than New Jersey. Maybe Hurricane Sandy steered them off course or disrupted their usual diet of schooling fish. Biologists are not sure why razorbills, which are penguin-like birds, have flocked to Florida's coastline. The blackbirds with white underbellies flapped their way to Kennedy Space Center, where Audubon members spotted a few recently during their annual Christmas bird count. Blogging birders have dubbed it a razorbill invasion of Florida, posting their photographs as proof on a Google pin map. Before this year, there had only been 17 sightings of the razorbills reported to Florida's bird surveillance program. State wildlife officials say during this month's local Audubon counts, participants identified 2 razorbills at the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge, the first time the species had been spotted there in more than 40 years. Another Audubon count this month in Cocoa spotted one of the birds for the first time in more than 60 years, and this winter about 100 of the birds have been spotted off of Miami. They've also been seen as far south as Key West and as far west as Pensacola. And those are the headlines from The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
Hi, this is Brad from Ocala Aviation. How would you like to have someone give you $4,000? Call me.
Brad, can't end the commercial that way.
Why not?
Because you have to tell them why you're giving away $4,000.
No, I don't. It's $4,000.
Yeah, I know, but for what?
Oh, I see. You mean like tell them it's for a flight scholarship that gives young people a chance to fulfill their dreams of becoming a pilot?
Yeah, something like that.
Nah, just give them the phone number. It's $4,000.
All right. What's the phone number?
352-861-7484.
Okay, that works.
This is a public notice. Local residents can now save thousands of dollars on their next car, truck, or SUV. It's not a tent sale, because no tent is big enough to hold this many cars. It's OcalaForSale.com. Say goodbye to sticker shock. OcalaForSale.com has thousands of vehicles with no stickers at all. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
What you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
People who learn and experience new things from their partner are happier and more committed. It's a process called self-expansion. When it comes to teen safety behind the wheel of a car, the alarm clock is just as important as the speedometer. Teens who don't get enough sleep, we now know, are more likely to get into a car accident. 2 out of 3 women say they would prefer an inexpensive date over a very fancy one.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
All right, thank you very much. 8 minutes after 11 o'clock. Hope you're doing well. It's Thursday, and it's beautiful out there. I got something I want to share with you that I found online from a lady who was a child in Austria when Hitler was taking over, and it's got a great she's got a great message for us here in America today, and I'll read that to you in just a second. This past year, and as last year, Robin and I were involved in trying to raise funds for the Marion County Literacy Council.
Yes.
And they have an announcement they want us to make. It says they are in need of reading tutors for the outreach program at the jail. The jail here in Marion County, of course.
That's right.
Tutoring in the jail is a unique experience, it says here, but it also is a very rewarding one. Although they are incarcerated, the inmates you'll be working with are still students who seek to better themselves. You could have a huge impact by working with individuals and giving them the tools they need to not wind up back in jail again. It's important to understand that the jail is a temporary location. Most of the population will not be there long, so as a tutor, you do what you can with the time you have. Ideally, the inmate will wish to continue their development at MCLC, or Marion County Literacy Council, after the release. Females may tutor females or males. Males may only tutor other males. That's the way our society is. The meetings, if you become a tutor, are 1 time a week, typically for 1 hour each time you go to tutor. Tutors cannot currently be under court-ordered supervision. That only makes sense. And a criminal record does not automatically disqualify you. The type and date of offense, current circumstances are all considered. So if this is something you think you might be interested in doing, becoming a tutor to help inmates who are illiterate learn how to read, you will literally be keeping them thank you. That's the phone number? Yes. You will literally be giving them the tools they need to perhaps better themselves once they finally get out of jail and out of the trouble they're in, and give them some tools to learn how to read, and you'll make their life a lot better. If you think this is something you might like, you can call Dimitri, I guess is the name, Dimitri. Mm-hmm. The number is 690-7323, or you can send Dimitri an email. And Dimitri spells, I guess that's a man, his name, D-M-I-T-R-I-Y. D-M-I-T-R-I-Y at marionliteracy.org, okay?
Excellent. Such a great program.
That's a special person doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
All right, now let me read you this story. Somebody had posted it on Facebook, and I posted it on Facebook, and other people are posting it on Facebook, so it's spreading around. You may have read it already. Robin, once she hears it, will probably post it on the WOCA Facebook page.
Yeah, I haven't heard about it before until just now. You told me.
Let me read it to you. Kitty Worthman survived Hitler. She was speaking to an audience, I don't know where, and this is what she said. She said, "What I'm about to tell you is something you've never probably heard or read in history books." She tells her audiences, "I am a witness to history. I cannot tell you that Hitler took Austria by tanks and guns because it would distort history. We voted him in, she says. If you remember the plot of The Sound of Music, the Von Trapp family escaped over the Alps rather than submit to the Nazis.
Yep.
Kitty was not so lucky. Her family chose to stay in her native Austria. She was 10 years old, but she was a smart little girl, very aware of what was going on, and she remembers it very vividly and tells her audiences today. And now there's an article that I'm reading to you in which she recalls what I'm about to reveal to you. She says, we Austrians elected Hitler by a landslide, 98% of the vote. She wasn't old enough to vote herself. Back in 1938, she was only approaching her 11th birthday, but she remembers. She said, everyone thinks that Hitler just rolled in with tanks and took Austria by force, but it's not so. In 1938, Austria was in a deep depression. Nearly 1/3 of the workforce was unemployed. They had 25% inflation and 25% bank loan interest rates. Wow. Farmers and business people were declaring bankruptcy every day. Young people were going from house to house begging for food. Not that they didn't want to work. There simply weren't any jobs. She tells her audiences, quote, my mother was a Christian woman and believed in helping people in need. Every day we cooked a big kettle of soup and baked bread to feed the poor, hungry people. About 30 a day.
Wow.
We looked to our neighbors on the north, Germany, where Hitler had been in power since 1933. She said, we had been told that they did not have any unemployment, nor did they have any crime, and they had a high standard of living. It looked good. Nothing was ever said about persecution of any group, Jewish or otherwise. We were led to believe that everyone in Germany was happy. We wanted the same way of life in Austria. We were promised that a vote for Hitler would mean the end of unemployment and help for the family. Hitler also said that businesses would be assisted and farmers would get their farms back. Sounds pretty good, right?
It does.
98% of the population voted to annex Austria to Germany and have Hitler as their ruler. Kitty remembers. She says, we were overjoyed, and for 3 days we danced in the streets and had candlelight parades. The new government opened up big field kitchens and everybody was fed. She goes on to say that after the election, German officials were appointed, and like a miracle, we suddenly had law and order. 3 or 4 weeks later, everyone was employed. That's how quick it was. The government made sure that there was a lot of work. It was all created through something called the Public Works Service. Hitler decided we should have equal rights for women. Before this, it was a custom that married Austrian women did not work outside the home. An able-bodied husband would be looked down on if he couldn't support his family. Many women in the teaching profession were elated that they could retain their jobs that they previously had been required to give up for marriage.
Wow.
Then things changed. Listen to this. Our education was nationalized. She says she attended a very good public school. The population was predominantly Catholic, so they had religion in the schools. The day we elected Hitler, March 13th, 1938, I walked into my schoolroom to find the crucifix replaced by Hitler's photograph hanging next to a Nazi flag.
Wow.
They took out Jesus and they put in Hitler. Our teacher, a very devout woman, stood up and told the class we wouldn't pray or have religion anymore. Must have broken her heart.
It must have.
Instead, we sang a song called Deutschland, Deutschland über alles, and had physical education. Sunday was no longer church day. It became National Youth Day, and it was compulsory. You had to attend. Parents were not pleased about the sudden change in curriculum. They were told that if they did not send the children, they would receive a stiff letter of warning the first time. The second time, they would be fined the equivalent of $300, and the third time, they would go to jail. And then things got worse. The first 2 hours consisted of political indoctrination. The rest of the day, and this is in school, we had sports. As time went along, we loved it. They had so much fun. They had all the sports equipment for free. She says they'd go home and gleefully tell their parents about the wonderful time they had in school, but she says her mother wasn't happy. Kitty says that when the next term started, her mother took her out of public school and put her into a convent. She told her she couldn't do that, and she told her, the mother told her, Kitty, that someday when she grew up she would be grateful that she made that decision for her. There was a good curriculum at the convent, but it wasn't much fun, she remembers, and there was no political indoctrination, nor was there any sports. And she says, I hated it at first, but I felt I could tolerate it. Every once in a while, on holidays, I went home. I would go back to my old friends and ask what was going on and what they were doing. She says they began to have a loose lifestyle that was very alarming to her. They lived without religion. By that time, unwed mothers were glorified for having a baby for Hitler.
Oh, wow.
She says it seemed strange that society had changed so quickly. As time went along, she realized what a great deed her mother had done by putting her in the convent, and she wasn't exposed to the humanistic philosophy that had become rampant in Germany and Austria. And then food rationing began. In 1939, the war started and a food bank was established. All food was rationed and could only be purchased using food stamps. At the same time, a full employment law was passed, which meant if you did not work, you didn't get a ration card, and if you didn't have a card, you simply starved to death. Women who stayed home to raise their families didn't have any marketable skills and often had to take jobs more suitable for men. And soon after that, the draft was implemented. It was compulsory for young people, male and female, to give 1 year to the labor corps. Kitty says during the day the girls worked on the farms, and at night they returned to their barracks for military training just like the boys. They were trained to be anti-aircraft gunners and participated in the Signal Corps. And after the labor corps, they were not discharged but were used in the front line.
Oh my.
When I got back to Austria to visit my family, Kitty writes, most of these women were emotional cripples because they just were not equipped to handle the horrors of war. 3 months before she turned 18, Kitty was severely injured in an air raid attack, and she nearly had a leg amputated. So she was spared having to go into the labor corps or into the military service. When the mothers had to go out into the workforce, the government immediately established child care centers. You could take your children ages 4 weeks old to school age and leave them there around the clock 7 days a week under the total care of the government. The state raised a whole generation of children. There were no motherly women to take care of the children, just people highly trained in child psychology. By that time, no one spoke about equal rights because they knew they had none. And they also knew they had been had, by the way.
And those children from 4 weeks old on were turned into machines.
Before Hitler, we had a very good medical care. Many American doctors trained at the University of Vienna. But after Hitler, health care was socialized, free for everyone. Doctors were salaried by the government. The problem was, since it was free, the people were going there to the doctor for everything. When the good doctor arrived at his office at 8 a.m., 40 people were waiting for him. And hospitals were full. If you needed elective surgery, you had to wait a year or two for your turn. There was no money for research as it was poured into socialized medicine. Research at the medical schools literally stopped, so the best doctors left Austria and emigrated to other countries.
The U.S. government better pay attention to this.
As for health care, our tax rates went up to 80% of our income.
Oh my God.
Newlyweds immediately received $1,000 as a loan from the government to establish a household. They had big programs for families. All daycare and education were free. High schools were taken over by the government, and college tuition was subsidized. Everyone was entitled to free handouts such as food stamps, clothing, and housing. We had another agency designed to monitor business. She says her brother-in-law owned a restaurant that had square tables. Government officials told him he had to replace them with round tables because people might bump themselves on the corners. Then they said he had to have additional bathroom facilities. It was just a small dairy business with a snack bar. He could not meet all of the demands, and soon he went out of business.
Oh, my God.
The government owned the large businesses, and not many of the small ones could survive. And then the government was totally in control. She says, we had consumer protection, too. We were told how to shop and what to buy. Free enterprise was essentially abolished. We had a planning agency specially designed for farmers. The agents would go to the farms, count the livestock, and then tell the farmers what to produce and how to produce it. She says in 1944 she was a student teacher in a small village in the Alps. The villagers were surrounded by mountain passes which in the winter were closed off with snow, causing people to be isolated. So people intermarried and offspring were sometimes retarded. When she arrived, she says she was told there were 15 mentally retarded adults, but they were all useful and did good manual work. She says she knew one, named Vincent. She knew him very well. He was a janitor at the school. One day she looked out the window and she saw Vincent and the others getting into a van. She asked her boss where they were going. Her boss told her to an institution where the state health department would take them and teach them a trade and teach them to learn to read and write. The families were required, though, to sign papers with a little clause that said they could not visit them for 6 months. They were told visits would interfere with the program and might cause homesickness. As time passed, letters started to dribble back saying that these people died a natural, merciful death. The villagers were not fooled, though. They suspected what was happening. Those people left in excellent physical health and all died within 6 months. It was euthanasia. Then she says the government took our guns. First, she said, was gun registration. People were getting injured by guns. Hitler said that the real way to catch criminals was by matching serial numbers on guns. Most citizens were law-abiding and dutifully marched to the police station to register their firearms. Not long afterwards, the police said that it was the best interest of everyone to turn in their guns. The authorities already knew who had them, so it was futile not to comply voluntarily. No more freedom of speech. Anyone who said something against the government was taken away. We knew many people who were arrested, not only Jewish people, but also priests and ministers who spoke up. Totalitarianism did not come quickly. It took 5 years from 1938 until 1943 to realize full dictatorship in Austria. Had it happened overnight, she writes, my countrymen would have fought to the last breath. Instead, we had creeping gradualism.
That's the way it is now with the United States government.
Now our only weapons were broom handles. The whole idea sounds almost unbelievable that the state, little by little, eroded our freedom. She says, this is my eyewitness account. It's true. Those of us who sailed past the Statue of Liberty came to a country of unbelievable freedom and opportunity. America is truly the greatest country in the world, she writes. And then she tells us, don't let freedom slip away, because after America, there is no place to go.
Oh, my God.
That's the end of the article.
All of us Americans should buy that book and send it to the government.
That's not a book.
Oh, it's just...
That's just an article.
Oh, my God.
It's an article about a lady named Kitty Worthman, and I posted it on my Facebook page, and now that you know about it, Robin, I'm sure you'll be able to grab it and put it on the WOCA Facebook page.
Oh, it'll be there.
And good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Robin and Larry. This is June.
Hi, June.
I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year, and I just hope everybody that heard that really heard what it said.
Yeah, me too.
How things can gradually seep up on you, and you don't realize what's going on.
And how they
I
made
love
it.
this country, and I'm so sorry that I have to call and make a call like this, but I really do believe this could be happening here now.
It is.
And I have my grandparents came from Austria, and I'm only the second generation here, and what that woman said, I had heard things like that from my grandfather, so I know that woman is telling the truth. And I thank you guys, and God bless you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, June. I would imagine that the reason Kitty's telling that story is because she thinks it's happening here, too.
Right. I mean, we can see it right now.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Larry, Robin. I've been predicting downfall of this country since about 2008 and 4 on the Big Bad John show.
Yeah.
And I've been saying for those years, I was saying we're in free fall. We've hit bottom. And now we're fragmenting into something that we will not recognize as the United States of America. And I hate to say I told you so, but here we are. And it's going to take a lot more concerned citizens and a mob of people to march on Washington before these people will acknowledge anything. Don't forget, they're exempting themselves from everything they pass. You know, the health care bill, they're exempt. They have their own.
Yeah.
Taxes, they have their own, i.e. banking regulations, they're exempt. They're exempt from insider trading. They're exempt from so many things, it's unbelievable. Like I said before, the largest, most dangerous anti-American government in the world is right there in Washington, D.C. Wake up, people.
Thank you, Sonny. Again, the article I just read is on my Facebook page. If you know mine, just look up my name. But Robin will put it on the WOCA Facebook page, and just share it if you think it's important. Share it. The interesting thing about this is she's very upfront in saying that at first it was awesome. It was really good. And they, it's kind of like, wrapping a dangerous drug in a sweet candy,
Yeah.
At first it tastes good, when you it melts in your mouth and you start to get to what's really in that thing, it turns out to be not so good. And there you go. It almost is something predicted, I guess, throughout humanity, is that people will try to take God away and put their own image in his place.
Right. Exactly.
It just seems to be one thing. There's always somebody who does that, and that's part of it. She talks about so many different things in that article that you could clearly see how things progressed the way they did.
Right.
And the fact that she remembered it so clearly, and her mother had the wisdom to put her into the convent, as much as she didn't really like it at first. And she was upfront and honest about that, too. All right, we will take a little break. Got a few things we need to do, commercials we need to play. And if you wanted that article, I didn't write it. I only read it to you, and I was moved by it when I read it this morning and wanted to share it with you. And fortunately, we had a guest who said, sorry, I can't make it. So I said, well, this is a good opportunity to read that article.
That's right.
All right, let's push forward. Robin is going to put it on Facebook, and we will take a little break in about 15 minutes or so. Dan Martone is going to come in here.
Yay!
And we're going to have fun with Dan.
Yes, we are.
Now, Dan's daughter is here.
Yes, she is.
Alyssa. Now, she might be very helpful. So you might have a handicap, Robin.
She's a lifeline.
Because today it's New Year's songs that might be heard this coming Monday night. Yesterday we did New Year's songs from Guy Lombardo. It went back 40, 50 years or more.
Yeah.
Right? Today it's songs that'll be played this coming Monday on New Year's Eve.
That's right.
So they're the newer ones, the newer songs. All right?
Okay.
All right, we'll have fun. We'll be right back.
Yes, George.
I can't get the car started, and I need to get to Devon Self-Storage in Ocala to unclutter the garage.
Oh, George, don't worry. Devon Self-Storage in Ocala has a free move-in truck now. Just ask for John or Michael. They will gladly help you. George, you better call 352-873-0777.
Oh, thank you, Alice.
Say hi to Gordy for me.
Yes, I will, Alice.
George, with Devon Self-Storage in Ocala, your life just got easier.
Yes, Alice, yes.
What you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
People who learn and experience new things from their partner are happier and more committed. It's a process called self-expansion. When it comes to teen safety behind the wheel of a car, the alarm clock is just as important as the speedometer. Teens who don't get enough sleep, we now know, are more likely to get into a car accident. 2 out of 3 women say they would prefer an inexpensive date over a very fancy one.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Every day we hear another story about innovation or about cutting-edge technology taking place right here in Ocala. The power plant.
IHMC, Ocala 489. Did you know that important medical research is also being conducted here that may impact hundreds of thousands of people in the country someday? Maybe you've heard the name Renstar, but like so many others, perhaps you didn't realize that Renstar Medical Research is one of the top facilities of its kind anywhere in the U.S. There are important research studies being conducted by a highly qualified team of medical experts at Renstar, impacting decisions of major pharmaceutical companies and bringing new drugs to market. And you can be a part of these studies, as so many local people have done and are currently doing. Renstar has conducted more than 500 studies since its inception and would like to extend the opportunity to you to be a part of these cutting-edge programs. Call 877-629-5800 or 352-629-5800 if you'd like to know more. Renstar Medical Research, locally owned and operated in beautiful downtown Ocala. Renstar, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today.
They've served our country. They've kept us free. And they need your help.
We're sitting in Veterans Park. You can't sit here not realizing that you're surrounded by heroes. There are a lot of heroes in our community. A lot of heroes, unfortunately, are not in good financial shape. They're hurting both physically and financially. We step in and help directly. Our role is to reach out to them. We're there to help the veteran. We do counseling. We do outreach. Sometimes it's just coming into the office and sitting down and saying, hey, I've got a problem, and you're talking to another veteran who understands that problem.
Everybody who works for the Vets Helping Vets are awesome, and they are so kind to everybody. They're like my second family. They really are.
They have been there during the holidays. I have gotten unexpected visits, assistance.
Vets Helping Vets of Marion County needs your help. Call today, 352-433-2320, and pledge your support to Vets Helping Vets of Marion County.
It really has been a blessing.
Don't miss the Festival of Lights at Silver Springs, with more than 1 million twinkling lights and one holiday delight after another. Experience real snow on the Snow Toboggan Express. Warm up to Miss Molly's spellbinding stories. Catch the Victorian sounds of the Dickens carolers. And listen for the reindeer bells announcing the arrival of Santa Claus and his Silver River sleigh. Bring your camera, because Santa makes time for photo ops with the kids from 5 to 8 p.m. Then stay for the fantastic fireworks finale. The Festival of Lights is yours with an all-access Platinum Pass for as little as $51.99. Get unlimited admission to Silver Springs for a full year, including live concerts, special events, and VIP seating. All for $51.99. The Festival of Lights, December 14th through the 31st. For showtimes, visit silversprings.com.
Great news, everyone. The world didn't come to an end. And frankly, I kind of had my doubts. Nobody's more excited about that news than the folks at Ford Lincoln of Ocala. This means they can now resume with their year-end celebration by hosting a 100-hour sales event. I'm here to tell you there's never been a better time to enjoy a new Ford and take advantage of year-end savings on the best-selling vehicles in America, backed by Ford Lincoln of Ocala's low price guarantee. Let's face it, the holidays mean different things to different people. But a new Ford in your driveway, that means you're having a great holiday. If it's a new truck you're after, Ford Lincoln of Ocala still has a great selection of remaining 2012 built Ford Tough trucks with a total savings of up to $10,000 off MSRP. The clock's ticking. Get to Ford Lincoln of Ocala and let's celebrate together before the real deadline arrives on their 100-hour sales event going on, well, for 100 hours. Or point and click your way to savings at FordofOcala.com.
Let's celebrate.
ABC News Now. I'm Karen Chase. Snowplows are on the move in the Northeast, where a major winter storm that buried the Midwest is now making travel tricky from Pennsylvania to northern New England. The storm is also packing high winds. The cliffhanger continues in Washington, and your paycheck is hanging in the balance. President Obama and the Senate are returning to Washington today to resume efforts to avoid the 1-2 combination of higher taxes and automatic spending cuts in January. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he sees no reason not to sign a controversial bill banning adoptions to the U.S. It's seen as retaliation against a recent U.S. law calling for sanctions against Russians who commit human rights violations. Mark Zuckerberg's sister Randy called it way uncool when a friend published a private Zuckerberg family Facebook photo on Twitter. Facebook friends have criticized its tricky privacy protection policies. What will Hollywood do for an encore now that 2012 is on record as a record breaker at the box office? Movies pulled in $10.8 billion this year, nearly 6% more than last year. This is ABC News.
Geico says, let's make life simpler.
Look, I'm all for modern conveniences. But ask yourself, do you really need a blender with 23 buttons just to chop an onion? At Geico, we think life should be simpler. So we make it super simple to save on car insurance. Just one click and you could be on your way to saving hundreds. Come on, people. Life doesn't have to be that complicated.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. With one phone call, you'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information. It's a free service, so call now.
800-378-2281. 800-378-2281.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. Mostly sunny today, but cool, high 60 to 64. Clear and cold tonight, lows ranging from 34 in a few inland spots to 43 along the coast. Sunshine mixing with clouds tomorrow and a little milder, high 67 to 71. Saturday, mostly cloudy with a chance for a shower and thunderstorm or two, high 76 to 80. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Here are today's headlines from the source WOCA. A memorial service for Bill McBride, the Florida Democrat who defeated Janet Reno for the party's gubernatorial nomination in 2002 but lost to Republican Governor Jeb Bush, will be held tomorrow in Tampa. The service is scheduled for 1 p.m. at the Palma Sia Presbyterian Church. McBride suffered a fatal heart attack on Saturday while visiting with family in Mount Airy, North Carolina. He was 67 years old. McBride defeated Reno, who was U.S. Attorney General under President Bill Clinton, in the Democratic primary to run against Bush. Before entering politics, he was managing partner at the prestigious Holland and Knight law firm. McBride's wife, Alex Sink, was the Democratic nominee for governor in 2010, losing to now Governor Rick Scott. The couple lived outside of Tampa. Florida may be fourth in the nation when it comes to population, but we're still number one when it comes to sending convicted killers to death row, according to a report from a national nonprofit group that studies the death penalty in America. The Sunshine State sentenced 21 inmates to death in 2012, more than California, more than Pennsylvania, and even more than Texas, which continues to lead in the number of inmates actually executed, according to the Death Penalty Information Center. It's the second straight year in which Florida has held the top spot among the states that have a death penalty, but it still represents a big spike over last year when we sent 13 people to death row. California came in second both years, having sent 10 inmates to death row in 2011 and 14 this year. Of the 33 states that have a death penalty, 24 carried out no executions and 14 sent no new inmates to death row in 2012. Florida carried out 3 executions this year. A newspaper in New York said they wanted to add context to the debate over gun control when they published a list of registered gun owners in the area, but the map of gun owners in Westchester and Rockland counties drew strong reaction on both sides, and some former police officers are calling the move dangerous. Tom Veary is a retired police officer. He was awarded in 1985 after responding to a call where he came upon a man with a hatchet attacking people in a bank. He lunged at the attacker and took him down. The award was given by an earlier version of the Journal newspaper, which is owned by Gannett. He was praised for taking the suspect down without using his gun. Now retired and living in Jacksonville, he plans to give that award back to the Journal News, saying that if the newspaper is going to award police officers during their careers, they should not be putting their lives in danger when their career is over. The Journal News published a map listing the addresses of registered gun owners in the area, including retired police officers. Veary thinks that's dangerous. Speaking to reporters, Veary said, quote, "To treat law-abiding citizens and retired police officers as if they were sex offenders and they're being outed in their own neighborhood, that is a little bit scary," unquote. They typically winter no farther south than New Jersey. Maybe Hurricane Sandy steered them off course or disrupted their usual diet of schooling fish. Biologists are not sure why razorbills, which are penguin-like birds, have flocked to Florida's coastline. The black birds with white underbellies flapped their way to Kennedy Space Center, where Audubon members spotted a few recently during their annual Christmas bird count. Blogging birders have dubbed it a razorbill invasion of Florida, posting their photographs as proof on a Google pin map. Before this year, there had only been 17 sightings of the razorbills reported to Florida's bird surveillance program. State wildlife officials say during this month's local Audubon counts, participants identified 2 razorbills at the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge, the first time the species had been spotted there in more than 40 years. Another Audubon count this month in Cocoa spotted one of the birds for the first time in more than 60 years, and this winter about 100 of the birds have been spotted off of Miami. They've also been seen as far south as Key West and as far west as Pensacola. And those are the headlines from The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
Habitat for Humanity of Marion County is a ministry dedicated to improving lives by providing affordable and decent housing. Help them help others by visiting the Habitat for Humanity Ocala home store on Northwest 27th Avenue. To schedule a donation, give them a call and they'll come and pick it up. For more information, visit habitatocala.org. Habitat for Humanity of Marion County, building homes, building hope, building community.
What you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
People who learn and experience new things from their partner are happier and more committed. It's a process called self-expansion. When it comes to teen safety behind the wheel of a car, the alarm clock is just as important as the speedometer. Teens who don't get enough sleep, we now know, are more likely to get into a car accident. 2 out of 3 women say they would prefer an inexpensive date over a very fancy one.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Compton, inviting you to join us on The Voice of Ocala to discuss a painful subject, pain, not a one-size-fits-all pain, because pain is very personal and comes in all forms. That's why we need to talk about where you're hurting, and we can find out why. Then I can recommend ways to help deal with it, whether it's physical pain, emotional pain, the psychological pain of loss, or the pain of physical injury. And when we define your pain, we can begin looking for ways to treat it. Did you know that a lack of vitamin C can